out onto the offside and through extra cover for 4. He hit that very hard into the ground and it looped up and then raced away. And it's 4 more off the last ball of the over, as it so often happens. Haynes on to 12, 116 for 1 after 9.
Really lovely cricket shot from Haynes. Sami Patel trying to go wide once again to make the sweep shot really difficult, and Haynes has countered that by hitting him straight over extra cover. Really good batting, really nice batting as Matt Carter back into the attack from the pavilion end.
Just the 1 over then from Stephen Mullaney, which only cost not 7. It was a good over, but he's taken himself back out of the attack to bring in Carter, who's bowled in. Bracewell's gone. First ball of Carter's innings, and Carter's over. Carter strikes, another big wicket for Notts, and Matthew Carter gets his 50th T20 wicket for Nottinghamshire, and it's a big one at a big moment. Bracewell's gone for 55 from just 27 balls, and Worcester 116 for 2.
Really nicely bowled, fired in by Matt Carter. Bracewell's just given himself a little bit too much room, and leg stump has been removed from the ground. Really nice couple of overs this from Notts, dragging themselves back into the game, and definitely needed as Mitchell Santner walks to the crease at Trent Bridge.
New Zealander,
fresh off the plane from the IPL.
Yeah, it's not really what Notts want to see just at the moment, is it?
No, especially seeing as Chennai won it.
Yeah, 116 for 2 on the board in the 10th over, and in walks Mitchell Santner. Just the 1 ball then of this 10th over so far. 1 ball, 1 wicket for Matt Carter, and Santner to take strike. 116 for 2. Not the biggest crowd in at Trent Bridge tonight. The sunbathed side of Trent Bridge, and the pavilion around through the Hound Road, the Tavern stand, and then the Fox Road stand. They're well populated as this first one too. Santner is nurdled up towards long on for a single. The shaded Smith Cooper stand and the William Clark stand away to our right are fairly sparsely populated, plenty of empty white seats in there. As in comes Carter again to Haynes, who's playing him round his legs to deep backward square all along the ground, Montgomery Fields, and go through for a single once again. Rapids in a bit of a consolidation phase now, as Carter is in again to bowl to Santner, who plays him back down the pitch pretty straight, and again they go through for 1, because despite having plenty of runs on the board, what they won't want to do here, Worcester, is lose a couple more quick wickets. They want to keep some in reserve so they can really launch an assault again over the last 3 or 4 overs. This next one from Haynes is clipped off his toes, and Conor McCurr fields on the square leg boundary.
Unfortunately for Worcester, losing 2 set batsmen, but fortunately for Notts means that you do have to go through a bit of a rebuilding phase.
Here comes Carter again, down the pitch goes Santner, completely misses it, and somehow I think he got a little toe on it or something like that maybe. No, it's just byes that have been called, so everything missed. They'd gone through for 1. How that didn't hit the stumps after Santner had completely missed it, I'm not too sure. So he's got away with 1 as the Kiwi, and it's 121 for 2 at the halfway stage. So you can see that they're on for a big score unless Notts can do a lot of good work with the ball, continue good work with the ball that they've shown over the last few overs. Stephen Mullaney's changed ends. He's going to come on from the Radcliffe Road end, and it's going to be described for you by Dave Bracegirdle.
Thank you, Colin. A couple of wickets then for Notts Outlaws this evening, coming in the last 5 overs there as described by Colin. 1 for Sami Patel, 1 for Matt Carter. Here's Mullaney bowling to Mitchell Santner. He's run this one away, and there's enough pace on that to take it all the way over the ropes and into the crowd for 4 runs. Santner not played a lot of cricket. We do quite rightly say he was a member of the Chennai Super King squad, but he played 3 matches right at the start of April, and he's been just an unused sub or 12th or 13th man since then. Didn't play in the latter stages, so he's not had a lot of cricket, but you wouldn't tell that from the way he's timed his first couple of shots. He's pushed this back to Mullaney, and now he's gone. Mullaney's got a caught and bowled. Mitchell Santner, I'm sure we'll see with ball in hand later, but he's not made an impression here with the bat, chipping one straight back to Mullaney, caught and bowled for 6.
And Notts continue to claw this back. Nice caught and bowled. They're never easy, and that is a big wicket. Stephen Mullaney once again taking pace off the ball, and Mitchell Santner chips one back at him.
There was a period from about when Stephen Mullaney came to the club, 2010 to probably 2016, where Notts would just have a tried and trusted formula of playing this game. They'd go through the power play 6 overs with the quicks bowling, and then as soon as the power play had finished, Mullaney would come on for his 4 overs from one end, with Samit Patel bowling at the other end, and those 8 overs, time and time again, won matches for Notts. They put the brakes on and they'd pick up useful wickets, and I just wondered if we might see them in tandem this evening, but Stephen Mullaney did pop in and over there of Matthew Carter, and he got an important wicket, and Notts just chipping away with 3 wickets in a relatively short space of time. 98 for 1, 116 for 2, and now 125 for 3, and the new man is Adam Hose. And Adam Hose, along with Sam Hain, has very fond memories of coming to Trent Bridge a year ago in the colours of his previous side, Birmingham Bears. He made 88 not out, shared in a stand of 174 unbroken with Hain, a record for the 4th wicket against Notts. This is dropped on the leg side by Adam Hose, fielded by Joe Clark. 125 for 3. Already made some handy contributions in this season's competition. Hose, he misses that one. Scored 61 in the win over Northants, 44 against Yorkshire, and 13 in the last match against Leicestershire, so he's had a little bit of time in the middle. Fearsome hit of a ball if he gets in. Mullaney's trying to get him out. Hose chops this away onto the offside. Adam Hose, what does he share with Danny Briggs, Kyle? The only 2 in the county system.
You've stumped me there. I need a little bit of time to think about this.
Here's Stephen Mullaney to bowl to Jack Haynes, who's on 14, goes for a reverse sweep, and he almost wrong-footed Matt Carter. I'm not sure Carter was close enough to stop it anyway, but a nice reverse sweep by Haynes brings him a boundary. Stephen Mullaney 2 overs 1 for 16, 130 for 3 at the end of that over. The men out: D'Oliveira for 44, Bracewell for 55, Santner in and out quickly for 6, and after 11 overs 130 for 3, and the answer is Danny Briggs and Adam Hose are the only 2 players in the current setups of the 18 counties to have been born on the Isle of Wight. There we are.
Thank you for putting me out of my misery. I would have never got that.
Spin from both ends. Well, no, you can't call Mullaney spin, but pace off from both ends, because Carter's going to continue. He's bowled 2 overs 1 for 18. Mullaney's 2 overs 1 for 16. This is the start of the 12th. And this is going to be a total over 200 if Worcestershire don't lose their concentration and go about this correctly. There's a slog sweep across the line by Hose. Didn't make contact with the bat, but they take the leg by nonetheless. 131 for 3.
What Notts have done really nicely here is Carter continues, and he comes in, and that is played away to backward point for a dot ball. What Notts have done really nicely here is they have pulled themselves right back into the game, especially after the start that Worcester Rapids had.
Haynes has 18. Fair-haired, free-flowing stroke player, and he can't get this away. Drills it back to Carter. Samit Patel getting loose again. Won't get the next over. Hain onto the leg side. Should be fielded by Conor McCurr, and is. That's nicely done, isn't it? Just watched it into his hands and then quickly released the ball back to Tom Moores. Only an opportunity for 132 for 3. Still got some fine players to come. Cash Ali and Ed Pollock. Ben Cox. This is down the leg side. Moores can't take it cleanly. It'll be a wide, and they've also run through for another one. So that'll have to be re-bowled by Matthew Carter.
And that quite looks like it's hurt Tom Moores. I think that's hit him square in the chest, actually.
Carter round the wicket from the pavilion end. It's drilled back in that direction by Haynes. Tied it up in the deep. And there's just a single. It's good work by Hales at the far end of the ground. 135 for 3. 1 ball left in the 12th over. Have Worcestershire, by means of their openers, got themselves into a position here where they're going to take this game out of Nott's reach. That will become apparent over the next few overs as another single is hit down the ground. The end of the 12th over, 136 for 3. They've already had a score of 196 for 9 at Wantage Road against Northants, Worcestershire. They chased down 176 to beat Yorkshire at home, and then made 183 for 7 batting first against Leicestershire. So they're full of runs. Here you'd imagine they're probably going to need a few more, but they're probably going to get a few more. They're certainly on course for 200 plus at the moment.
Definitely. Not a good chasing side though, especially at Trent Bridge.
Yeah, they didn't go about it very well the other night against Yorkshire, as Samit Patel begins his 3rd over and straight away is deposited over the ropes between the Radcliffe Road lower and the William Clark stand for 4. That was just too short and pulled away vigorously by Adam Hose, who's gone on to 6. 140 for 3. BBC Radio Nottingham bringing you all the Outlaws games in this competition. This is match 5 of 14. Hose punches this into the offside, fielded by Montgomery. Worcestershire with 1 win to their name back in 2018. Lots, of course, winning this competition in both 2017 and 2020. Patel bowls with a nice looking drive into the offside, shy at the stumps from Joe Clark. Samit Patel went to field it, and well, he couldn't gather the ball cleanly. There was nobody backing up close enough, and they take an overthrow. That's, apart from wides or no balls, that's the next thing they don't want on their list. Gifting runs to the opposition. I can understand why Joe Clark threw it so hard, but it was a fairly inaccurate throw, but there should have been somebody backing up. Patel bowls. This is 6 runs, way over towards the new build at the back of the William Clark stand, the Dave Bracegirdle retirement home, we imagine, that they're building just over the other side of the road there. 149 for 3, blocks our view of the traffic on the Loughborough Road.
Well, Dave, that has nearly gone straight into your new living room.
Big hit from Haynes. He's on to 28, starting to float. We're feeling good inside. That's well bowled by Patel, nice and full, and well taken by Tom Moores standing up. Flat performance, you have to say, from Notts. Almost shell-shocked by the way Worcestershire's openers came out of the blocks. That's going to be called a wide every day of the week by umpire Baldwin, and is. And that's the 150 up. Still 7 overs after this one to go in the innings. Another one that's hit away and over extra cover and away for 4 more. And Samit Patel being as harshly treated as anybody else. He's bowled his 3 overs now, figures of 1 for 40. You often see him come on and bowl a really miserly spell. Well, he got a wicket in his first over, but since then he's gone round the park, as have pretty much all of the Notts bowlers this evening. 154 for 3 after 13. Sam Haynes 32, Adam Hose has 7. Where can Notts get another breakthrough from? Stephen Mullaney having a chat. Tom Moores is down the other end. Going to be Matt Carter. Carter 3 overs, 1 for 23. Delighted to say been joined in the commentary box again by an unbiased observer.
Money's worth already.
Carter bowls, and Adam Hose drives it down the ground for a single. 155 for 3. Luke Fletcher, Notts bowler, currently with a bit of an ankle niggle, has popped up to say hello, and I'm not sure what else he can say. But your first word was what? Garbage?
No, I didn't say garbage. I said carnage.
Carnage.
I didn't say
no,
garbage.
I didn't hear you properly.
Why would I say garbage?
155 for 3. Next one's hit down the ground. Carnage.
In fairness, sorry, it looks a really good pitch.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to change, is it? We'll probably use this for the next 2 or 3 games. And it's a small boundary that side to the right where we are. The sort of cut off of the newsstand. The angle there is so small. Probably doesn't do it justice, really, being here. But when you're on the field, it's tiny.
Adam Hose has 8. Just drops this on the leg side. He's rotating the strike at the moment, just until he gets himself set. You see it so often in the Blast, the very nature of the power play. The openers want to come out, get on with it, accelerate, get quick runs, get the side off to a good start. As this one's heaved away, that'll be half a dozen more. Conor McCurr can't get that. Nice looking shot from Haynes, who moves on to 39. And it's so important, Luke, you'd know better than any of us, so important to get that early breakthrough, and it didn't happen today.
I mean, overs, it's getting harder and harder every year, and I've not played yet this year, but just observing and watching from the TV or from here in the stands, it just looks like batters are coming so hard at every single ball.
Haynes has 39. Matt Carter bowls again. This one's drilled down the ground. He'll only get a single. Moves on to 40. 164 for 3.
Well, if you don't pick one up in the first 2 overs 3, 4, 5, 6, they're going to come super hard then, because they've got a license to do that, and that was what happened today. And it's, as a bowler, it's really difficult to stop them scoring there.
Hose has 9. He tries to unload, and he's going to get a boundary here. He just clipped that through mid-wicket. 3 out on the leg side, but he's pierced the gap.
Sorry, there's not a lot you can do with that, is there? He's pretty much nailed a York on leg stump with a field set of leg side, out on the leg side, all his men out on the leg side. It's gone in the gap. I mean, this is a tough place to play, Trent Bridge. It's small, it's fast outfield, the pitches are flat.
Got a decent record against Notts, these, haven't they? They're one of these niggly sort of sides.
They're a bogey side that you look at and you just think, oh, you know, they just always seem to find a way. But listen, the game's nowhere near over yet. There's a long time to go, and if our batters get their heads on and they get going, you know, your Hales, Clarks, Monroe.
Sometimes you make your own luck, don't you? This is.
In fairness, they've played well, Dave. They have played well. You've got to give them that.
169 for 3. Still Ed Pollock to come.
That's
Another
6.
big shot down the ground, and that's going to be clearing the rope down below us for 6 more. 175 for 3 in the 15th, and Hose just had a look, hasn't he, Adam Hose? And now he's starting to unleash as well.
He is a dangerous player. Last year he was obviously with the Birmingham Bears, and he got a big score then. Did he get 100, or was that Sam Haynes?
He got 88 not out, and Haynes was 100 not out.
Yeah, so he likes his place. But listen, if we get a wicket soon, we stop the partnership, and we can try and reduce them to as less as we possibly can. But at the minute, it looks hard work.
Another single belted down the ground. 176 for 3 in the 15th. And just a word on your mate Ducky. I'm sure you'll have seen a little bit of Ben Ducky. You're all pleased for him?
Yeah, really pleased. I mean, he's in great form, and I mean, wish you could chuck him in an Uber and come down here and back tonight. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? You'd enjoy it on here.
176 for 3. Next one's hit into the offside. Conor McCurr does the fielding and spears it into Tom Moore's. 177 for 3. I think you popped in and joined us a few nights ago and said your fitness progress was what 14%.
I said. Someone reminded me that the other day when you made him laugh apparently on the radio. So listen, I'm improving every single day.
Where are we now?
I reckon I'm above 20 now, so I'm going well.
Mullaney bowls to
get down.
Adam Hose. McCurr doing the fielding. 178 for 3. Still 5 overs to go.
I think the closer I feel to playing, the harder it is to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm struggling with right now. And I feel the boys' pain. It's really difficult out there.
Haynes has a good surface. 42. This is up in the air now, and is there enough on this? Matthew Montgomery gets underneath it and takes a very good catch. Wonderful hands, Matthew Montgomery judged that superbly well. And Jack Haynes has to go. Stephen Mullaney with another wicket. Gets a round of applause from Luke Fletcher. 178 for 4. There are still 5 to go, but that's an important one.
That's a massive wicket. I mean, they were taking the game away from us there. And they played really well. Jack Haynes looked really good from the start. You know, busy at the crease, hit the boundary as well. timing the ball nicely. So that is a massive breakthrough from the captain there. Who actually I think's bowled really well tonight, Mulaney. He's been the best of the bunch, I'd say.
Definitely. He looks like he's taken a lot of pace off the ball, though, Fletch. Do you think that would be one of the reasons? One of the reasons he's always going to bowl in these sort of games?
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot at the minute. You speak to a lot of bowlers, and what's effective is pace off. Batters just like pace now. You know, you pick all these 85, 90 mile an hour bowlers. People smack them now, and the more pace there is on the ball, the further it goes. You know what I mean? So, especially at grounds like this, hard places to bowl, fast outfield, take the pace off. You've got to try and stay one step ahead of the batter at all times, really. But he's done that really well. He bowls the knuckleball well. He actually hits his York as well, Mulaney, as well. So he's a very niggly bowler.
Patel, 3 overs, 1 for 40, bowls to Adam Hose, the start of a new over, and can't get a run there. Down, attempting a slog sweep. Hose, he's hit it straight to Shaheen Shah Afridi.
They'll keep coming. They're going to keep coming hard here, obviously, but just stay calm, take your catches.
Patel into Hose, he's got 21. He'll punt this down the ground, and the shout was 2, but no, they don't go through for it. The new man, Kashi Fali. So that still means Ed Pollock, who's batted at 7 in all of Worcestershire's games so far, still to come. This is something very new.
I thought they might have gone Ed Pollock because it's a left hand, right hand, which is always handy in this.
I thought after that start they might slip him in at number 3, but we haven't seen him yet. Here's Patel then to Kashi Fali.
Still got Ben Cox as well, who's also one of those type of finishers that they've got the scoops, the reverse scoops, hard to set a field to type of batsman. So he might come in ahead of Pollock in this situation of the game. Pollock normally opens the batting, as we all know.
180 for 4. Patel bowls. Adam Hose almost swings himself off his feet and up to Montgomery. That really was a superbly judged catch by Matthew Montgomery. He was looking in the sun. I know he's got sunglasses on, but it's still not easy.
Well, when you're backpedaling like that and you're trying to get a gauge of where the rope is and you don't want to go over it.
Patel bowls, and next one's drilled down the ground for a single. You ever fielded in sunnies? Just a completely random question.
I tried it once because I thought everyone's doing it, so I want to do it, and it looks cool. I've got really long eyelashes, and they catch on the end of the lens, honestly. And I couldn't quite pick the ball up, and I thought, no, this ain't for me. I need to get rid of these.
Patel bowling down the leg side, that'll have to be re-bowled. Just suddenly,
but I think
of all the nonsense we speak about during commentaries, I can't ever remember you fielding in
there you go.
sunnies
I
on.
don't do it. There, I don't. No, never. I don't wear glasses. I don't wear rings. I don't wear watches. I don't wear any jewellery. I don't have tattoos. I like to get up, get out of bed, brush my teeth, have a bit of a wash, job done.
Patel bowls. There you are. There's Dave's
old-fashioned pro.
Luke's daily routine. The over ends with one speared into the boot of Adam Hose. So Samit Patel, 4 overs, 1 for 45. Just 5 from that over. Notts will be glad to get through another over. 183 for 4 after 16.
Well, that was a good over from Samit. You know, he's had a tough night, as most of the Notts bowlers have, but to finish off with just conceding 5 off your last over. You know, we say in this format, it's always the next ball. Whatever happens before that, don't worry about it, park it and concentrate on your next ball, and Samit's done well there, and that could be the difference. You never know, that over could be the difference in Notts getting a result tonight or not.
Still got the same enthusiasm he always has, Samit.
Yeah.
When he got that wicket, the run of celebration, even though it only made it 98 for 1. Here's Mulaney, his final over, 2 for 26. Oh, that's pretty wide. Paul Baldwin's going to call that.
We need to push this wide line out because it's not fair. It needs to be a bit wider, doesn't it?
It's a batter's game.
It is, mate. They'll be taking stumps out soon. I'm certain next year there'll be 2 stumps in.
Kashi Valley on strike. Steve Mulaney bowls him, goes on the reverse, and it's gone through to Moores, whips off a bail. Just playing devil's advocate then, I'm not saying I disagree with you or agree with you. Isn't the object to bowl at the stumps?
Okay, I'll tell you something in a minute.
Stephen Mulaney bowls and gets it straight back from Kashi Valley. Good stuff this from Mulaney.
To some players, yes, but to some players, no. So when we come up against Liam Livingston, hopefully he's not listening, I'm sure he's not, it's to bowl the ball as far away from the stumps as you can, out of his arc, which sounds crazy, doesn't it?
There's Mulaney. Alec down on one knee, and again it goes through to Tom Moores.
Well, look at this situation here, Dave, where we are. Right-hander batter is trying to target the short side across the newsstand, right? So what's Mulaney doing so well here? He's making him reach for the ball. If he lands that ball anywhere on the stumps, he's going.
Good stuff this from Stephen Mullaney. Halfway through the 17th. Ball's now to Kashi Fallin. Again, well taken by Tom Moores. Very close to that blue guideline, but I think that's okay. Gets the thumbs up from Luke. 184 for 4.
Bang on. There you go. Moores, he knows exactly what's going on here. What you might find is about an hour, so just walk out to the offside a bit.
Mullaney in
there you go.
To Ali. And again, he's missed it, and again, Moores has taken it. This is terrific, and the crowd getting involved. Not had too much to cheer about tonight, but they're appreciating this, the skills of Stephen Mullaney here. 184 for 4.
I think you know what's coming here, Dave.
Last ball of the over. Mullaney outside the off stump, driven out as far as deep extra cover, fielded by Conor McCurd, just a single, and that's a win for Stephen Mullaney and for Notts. And Mullaney's through his 4 overs, 2 for 28. 185 for 4 after 17. It is still going to be a very healthy score here, but 230, 240, even 250 was on the cards when the openers put 98 on.
Mate, I'm telling you, these last 2 overs are very, very handy, and they could have a massive effect in this game. You've got 2 overs now from one of the best finishers in world cricket, Shaheen Shah Afridi, who hits Yorkers for fun. And I would say, I reckon Lyndon James might get a go. He hits the hole well, and at this ground you've got to be able to bowl Yorkers, wide Yorkers, straight Yorkers, wherever it is, you have to be able to hit the hole. And that's what Mullaney's done so well there. Even Samit Patel, when we practice in the nets, he hits Yorkers as well as anyone. Spinners nowadays, you know yourself, you have to be able to hit the hole, don't you? You need to be able to get out of overs.
The old adage, you can't go for first and last ball of the over.
No.
It's just as simple as that.
Absolutely.
What would Stephen Mullaney be happy chasing here, Fletch?
No more than 185. It's 185 for 4. Here's Shaheen Shah Afridi bowls, and they'll get a single.
Well,
186 for 4.
Listen, I think the par score here at Trent Bridge over the last 5-6 years is probably 190, 200. I don't know the exact figures. Dave might have it down, but it's up there. So if we can keep it to somewhere around there, I don't think we will, maybe 210. Somebody's got to have a day out, which could happen. This pitch looks really good, the outfield is rapid like we keep saying, and it ain't going to change, so I would be thinking around 210, 215.
Afridi bowls onto the pads of Adam Hose. He's just pushed it out to deep mid-wicket, and they'll only get a single there. Montgomery again, really good. He's quick, he's fleet of foot, picks the ball up, fires it into Tom Moores, and they only get a single. 187 for 4. 10 balls left. 10 singles would suit Notts, I think. 197, but you'd imagine they'd be extremely fortunate to...
something will happen. They'll nick one through the keeper or something like that, but it's been a good last 14 balls, that is for sure.
Afridi bowls, and this one is lifted away into the Fox Road stand for 6. Not quite reached the front row of the Fox Road stand, but sails well over the rope at deep backward square and away for 6 runs. Conor McCurd fetches it. Luke, many thanks for popping in. I know you're in the ground with your family and watching on.
Well, I'm with my family, but it's carnage in that box, so I thought I'll come up here for a bit of fresh air and see the lads in the commentary box. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Appreciate you popping in, Luke Fletcher. Just bringing us some insights from the Notts squad. Afridi bowls again. Now this one's very high. This should be a wicket for Afridi. Stephen Mullaney says mine at backward point, and Mullaney takes the catch. The roar confirms Stephen Mullaney pouching that one. Shaheen Shah Afridi has had a tough old night, but he's got his first wicket, and Worcestershire are 193 for 5 with 2.5 overs left.
Cassius Valley comes dancing down the wicket again. Afridi taking pace off the ball, and that has gone as high as you can imagine. It's a really good catch by Stephen Mullaney, and Worcester lose their 5th, 193 for 5. In comes Ed Pollock. Looks left hand, right hand combination. Someone's always going to have to target that short boundary now.
Started with Worcestershire, of course, got his breakthrough with Warwickshire, Birmingham, if you like, in this competition. But I saw him tweet a picture today of himself, a team group, Worcestershire under 10s, and the reason he put it on was because he was sat next to Josh Tong. Ed Pollock Twitter feed today, and obviously was sending his mate congratulations and whatever, but an under 10 Worcestershire 11, and him and Josh Tong there. So he's back, his 2nd year at New Road after a fairly lengthy spell at Edgbaston. Shaheen Shah Afridi bowls, and This one always been spilled by Tom Moores. Must have been pace off from Afridi. It bobbled and bounced and zigzagged its way towards Moores, who couldn't take it cleanly, and they've taken a bye.
That'll be very frustrating. That all frustrates Afridi. Would have liked to keep the new batter on strike. He's done him there again with pace off, and now he's got a bowl to Hose, who is hitting him really nicely, isn't he?
Two former Bears, who of course are now pairs. Afridi bowls to Hose. That's a lovely looking drive, but there is protection out there on the leg side with Lyndon James. Just a single brings Pollock back on to, well, in fact it's the end of the over, so 195 for 5. There are 2 overs left in the innings, and Notts, well, they're still going to be chasing more than 200, but considering again where they were at the halfway stage, 121 on the board after 10 overs. It's been a decent few overs for Notts. They've just got to finish well, Kyle.
Definitely. They've done so well to pull themselves back into the game. They don't want to let it slip now. They don't want to let the score go over 220. As Fletch said, 210, 15 runs off the next 2 overs. Maybe a little bit more, but they'll be very happy with that. They just need to contain Adam Hose here.
It's Conor McCurt, 2 overs, none for 30 for the on-loan Surrey Quick. He's going to be bowling to the right-handed Hose to begin with. Played in the first 3 matches. Conor McCurt has taken 4 wickets altogether, and his first ball is deposited from outside off stump to deep square leg for 6. That was a remarkable shot from Adam Hose. How on earth you can play that? It was pitched up in the block hole, 9 inches outside the off stump, and somehow Adam Hose, with very supple wrists, has deflected it away for 6 on the leg side. That's extraordinary.
Incredible. Flick of the wrist, and that's gone for 6. McCurr hasn't really done much wrong there. No. Maybe missed his length a little bit, but that is a remarkable cricket shot.
Guessing you'll know both of these well from your time with Warwickshire. They've both recently made the move from Edgbaston to New Road. This is punched down the ground, this next delivery for a single, so the 200 is up. 202 now for 5.
I'll tell you what, Hose was a nightmare to bowl to in the nets, Dave. Wow. He is a fantastic player. He's a great player. He has all the shots, hits it really well, nice and cleanly. Great player.
He's had a pretty good last few months actually. After the blast last year, he got picked up in the 100 and then went and played in the Caribbean Premier League and did well there, and that led to a stint playing in the Big Bash in Australia over the winter. McCurr to Pollock, who mistimes this one. They'll take a single. Ed Pollock, you may remember, played for Birmingham Bears against Notts Outlaws in the final of this competition at Edgbaston back in 2017, was run out by Samit Patel, one of 2 direct hits from Samit on the day. And if ever you engage in conversation with Samit, it'll bring a smile to his face if you tell him you remember that. Doesn't generally run too many people out, but twice in the space of a couple of hours rang Michael Carberry out in the semi-final and Ed Pollock in the final. It's Conor McCurt to bowl to Hose on 32. Drills this out as far as Montgomery on the Fox Road side of the ground. And just another single.
Really good again. As many of you might know, McCurr bowling from the Radcliffe Road end, which means Hose hitting towards the short boundary, going nice and full and wide, and Hose driving to sweeper on the offside, staying away from that hitting arc.
So it's round the wicket to Pollock, the left-hander, and well, unfortunately he's drifted it down the leg side. As Kyle was saying, you don't want to give anybody sort of a free hit towards the short side, and Conor McCurr was just trying to bring that in from wide on the crease, but it just drifted down the leg side. 205 for 5. 8 balls left in the innings. Not so going to have to chase 220 or there or thereabouts. There's Conor McCurt. Again bowls, again down the leg side, and Pollock can't get hold of it. And they take a single. In fact, it's going to be a leg by. 206 for 5.
Well, really nice again from McCurr. so far, besides that incredible shot that Hose played, it's been a good over. Just needs to get out of it now. Stephen Mullaney just wandered across. I wonder if he's said something along those words. Try to stay away from the hitting arc of Adam Hose. At the top of his mark.
Big tall right-hander Adam Hose. McCurr bowls to him, and he's smashed this into this stand for 6. It was a lovely clean blow. Conor McCurr visibly furious. He finishes with 3 overs none for 46. He's gone round the park. That's more than 15 and over, and it's been like that for most of the Notts bowlers. What can Shaheen Shah Afridi do with 1 over to go? It's 212 for 5.
Well, McCurr's missed his length there, and Adam Hose is not going to miss out. He's too good a player, and he whacks that straight back over long on's head for 6. Shaheen Shah Afridi. This is what they pay him the big money for. Overseas player, close out the innings, finish well.
Well, he's already gone at 11 and over, 3 overs 1 for 33. Been out D'Oliveira for 44, Bracewell 55, Santner only made 6, the one to miss out, Haynes 42, and Cash Ali, the recent wicket to fall, he made 10. Pollock on strike, on 1, Afridi, left armour to left hand, hit him on the pad, asking umpire the far end, and not given. Is it going to be a leg bye? It is indeed. Bellow of a roar from Afridi there, thought he'd pinned his man in front, but not given.
I think slightly sliding down the leg side, Dave. What do you think?
Not in line. It wouldn't have been at all surprised from here had the finger gone up, but the umpire best pleased to see. The good news is Pollock's off strike, the bad news is Hose going very well. 39 from 23. Afridi bowls, scooped away, fine, down to long leg for 6. That was I'm sure premeditated, but it was wonderfully executed. It's one of the shots of the innings, beautifully played by Hose, and Afridi hit for 6. Wonderful shot.
Great shot, fine leg up in the ring. If you play the scoop well, it's very low risk, and Adam Hose certainly did that time, and that's gone for 6. Adam Hose 45 off 24. He's raced to that.
4 balls left in the innings. Afridi comes in, bowls, Hose helps it onto the leg side, out to Montgomery. They might just risk the 2 here. In comes the throw and whips off the bail. That's got to be very close. Umpire Baldwin in a good position, square on there, says not out. Tom Moore's not only whipped a bail off, he absolutely demolished the stumps, but good fielding by Montgomery. Knew he had to race in because the ball wasn't going to reach him out there on that fence. Clean pick up, good throw again, but they did get back for 2. It's a little tight from here.
Definitely. Good fielding though, really good fielding. Raced off that boundary. It's a far old boundary out there.
Pollock has missed this one, goes through to Moores. He underarms it towards the stumps, hits the stumps, and again they're appealing, and again I don't think it's going to be given. Good work by Tom Moores. Adam Hose rushing down to this end. He lost his bat and hobbled a little bit, went over on his ankles slightly. Tom Moores was down on his haunches. Don't know if he's done himself a mischief. And the end result is a bye. We've got 2 balls left, 221 for 5. It's a sort of score that doesn't get chased down very often, but when it does, it's fairly spectacular. There's a little bit of concern here over Tom Moores. Remember, he has had a broken finger on his left hand, on his right hand. It was the middle finger of his right hand that he broke. Just trying to see when I was talking to him. Yes, the middle finger of his right hand. I think he's okay. Happy to continue. Afridi to bowl to Hose, was on 46, and already he was getting into a position just to do the his own version of the Hose scoop, the Dill scoop, and he's got it away for 4 to go to a splendid 50 from just 26 balls. Terrific stuff from Adam Hose, and in truth from Worcestershire Rapids.
Wow, he's gone to scoop that, realised that he can't scoop it over fine leg, and has changed his mind last second and has scooped it over short third man. That is an incredible shot from Adam Hose, and that is a fantastic way to bring up your 50. And in all honesty, a really, really, really good knock. 50 off 26, and Worcestershire Rapids 225 for 5.
3 4s, 4 6s in that half century for Adam Hose. Last ball of the innings about to be bowled. 225 for 5. Shaheen Shah Afridi bowls. Adam Hose will chop this to backward point. The not skipper Stephen Mullaney relieved to field the ball, and that is the end of the Worcestershire allocation. 226 for 5. We had the thoughts briefly of Luke Fletcher when he popped up to join us, very much a member of the Bowlers Union. He felt there wasn't an awful lot that Notts could have done differently. A good track to bat on, lightning fast outfield, shortish boundaries, and Worcestershire made the most of it. Just wonder how Notts will go when it's their turn, but certainly that opening partnership, Kyle, set the tone, and my word, did they deliver. D'Oliveira and Bracewell at the top of the order. Most
certainly. They have played an incredible 20 overs. They have Worcestershire Rapids, and Notts will have their work cut out for them when they come out and bat. Worcester will definitely be going in there the happier of the two teams, but I tend to agree with Fletch. I don't think there was too much wrong with the bowling, just some incredible batting.
There was an early opportunity that went down. Colin Munro spilt D'Oliveira when he'd got 30, one that looped up away to our right. It seemed as if he'd got it, but he was running backwards, got both hands to it and couldn't hang on. There was 1 or 2 misfields, there were 1 or 2 slides near the boundary that weren't able to prevent the ball from going over the rope, but Worcestershire have piled on the runs. They kept the pressure on throughout. They were 121 at the halfway stage, so more than 100 again in the last 10 overs, despite Notts pegging them back with those 5 wickets. Couple to Stephen Mullaney, 1 to Patel, 1 to Carter, and 1 to Afridi. But they've got to bat really, really, really well. This is the start of a tough weekend for Notts out.
So our thanks to your commentary team there, and they will be back in a matter of moments. Ollie Stone joins me once again. Ollie, Rapid certainly came out, and I hate to use the pun rapid, but it was power play 87 for no loss. They certainly came out on the front foot there.
They did. They played some good shots, probably didn't bowl the way we'd like to up the top, and yeah, they obviously punished us when we got it wrong, and I mean, they flew out the traps, but I think to keep them to 210 or just over 210, I think we'd have took that, especially after that power play.
Is that kind of a positive that we have to take? Because obviously Outlaws 87 for no wickets at the power play. You're potentially thinking we could be on for a big chase here, but in those middle orders, the experience of Samit Patel, Stephen Mullaney, Matt Carter getting that first wicket, taking a positive of reducing them to 226 is something that maybe the lads are talking about now.
Yeah, I think they'll be mentioning that. I think they'll be, the way we've spoke in our pre-tournament meeting was there's no score here that we can't chase down. Seen how good a pitch it is, and the ball strikers that we've got up the top of the order, and then obviously to come down lower on. I'd like to say I don't think any score is too much to chase here. Yes, we're gonna have to go at a good rate, but I think it's definitely something that we can do, and I know up there they'll believe that we can chase this down.
100%. Is that where, before the game started, we talk about the batting depth of Outlaws and everybody really in the competition nowadays, but people that maybe you expect to come in at 6, 7, 8, Samit Patel, I think he's in at something like 9 in the order, they're going to have a role to play this evening.
Yeah, they are, and with a score like this, you have to be clever, but also you do have to just keep attacking those boundaries and trying to keep that rate in control and not spiral too much, and that may bring some chances and it may bring some wickets, and therefore those people will have to step up, and they've got the quality to, and I'm sure they're chomping at the bit. Obviously it's been great they haven't had to bat, but they'll be wanting to go out there and put a performance in as well, and yeah, we do bat deep, and hopefully we don't need them again tonight, but the quality is there if they are called upon.
Samit Patel actually told me earlier he has a strike rate of 400, I think it is, because he faced one ball and scored a 4. Won the match as well with that one. There we go. Obviously, Joe Clark, Alex Hales opening the batting very, very shortly. We've just seen what the Worcestershire Rapids openers did. Is it about keeping a level head? You just mentioned there about kind of, not necessarily chasing it, but playing a natural game, but not compare your power play with their power play.
Yeah, the way they just played strong cricket shots. There was nothing overly funky about it. There was, it was strong cricket shots that they got good value for money for. And I think the way Alex and Clarkey play up top, it is very much their game. They play strong cricket shots, hit well down the ground. And I think maybe Worcester might try and bowl a few more slower balls after sort of evaluating the way we went about it. They seemed occasionally that they were a bit trickier to hit, so we might have to deal with that up top. But again, I think good cricket shots play our game. I think we'll naturally score at that rate. Yeah, obviously they got off to a flyer, but the way we held them back, the game hasn't gone from us. So
I suppose the crowd will have a role to play as well this evening, won't they? 9,000 in here. They'll be cheering the boys on, and the boys will need them as well.
Yeah, they will. There's a few rowdy ones up there singing away. We're not quite sure what they're saying, but
we've both tried to work it out, but we can't.
They're definitely having a good time, and we know what happens when the crowd gets on our back here and supports. It's a tricky place to come and field. So yeah, hopefully the crowd can get stuck into the Worcester lads a little bit, and there's some mistakes out there that'll help us along the way.
It'll be nice, won't it? And just want to speak about the captain, obviously Stephen Mullaney. 5 wickets so far in the campaign, leading wicket taker for the Outlaws. He picked up 2 tonight, a catch as well, leading from the front. It's those kind of, I hate to say the word because you won't like it, but veterans of the team. The people that have come into the team, like your Conor McCurrs, etc. They're looking to them, aren't they? They're looking to you, Mullaney, to see your potential.
Yeah, wily old characters.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Like you say, they probably wouldn't like to be referred to, as the veterans, but no, they've shown their class. The way Mole went about it, mixed up his pace, got hit to the bigger side more often than not. There was a few balls that he'll be disappointed with, but yeah, the way he bowled and just showed that there's still some room in the game for people like him, and the way they go about it, it then makes our job as a seamer a bit easier later on, because they know if they're not getting away from him, the batters are going to attack us, and you can set the fields accordingly. Unfortunately, at some points tonight, we didn't quite get it right, but Mole's shown his class and his worth in the team, and like you say, he's just added to his wicket tally, and I'm sure he'll do again in the next couple of games as well.
I'm sure he will. We just spoke about Adam Hose there. He was 1 second he was on 33, and then he goes and gets his 50. And we spoke about how, as a batter, really no shot is off limits now for batters in this format. But as a bowler, when you're bowling in the death overs, how hard is it to bowl against these batters that just have every shot in their locker?
It's very hard. You almost have to try and, before the game, figure out what's his so-called worst shot and try and get him to go to that. As a bowler, I always like to have a field where I can bowl at least 2 balls to, so if they move around, if they look to scoop or something, you've got that option to be able to bowl a different ball. Sometimes it's challenging because they move so late, but if you see that slight movement early on, that you've got a different ball to bowl to. I feel like when you've got a field that you can only bowl one specific ball to, it can be very telegraphed and also limits you and makes your job a bit harder. But like there at the end, I was saying, when you've got the confidence to get down and reverse scoop Shaheen Afridi, I mean, you've got to be pretty crazy, I think, as a batter nowadays to be able to go down and play those shots and come off and be fearless. It's frightening actually how many batters do that now to the top high-end pacers.
You got that shot in your locker?
I'm I'm not sure. I think even if you told me where he was going to bowl it, I still wouldn't be able to bring myself to do it. It's
Leave it Let's just, while we've got you, let's talk about yourself. Obviously, I'm delighted that you stood here next to me talking, but I'm pretty sure, and I won't be offended if you say you'd rather be out there, playing a part in the game. How's the injury? How's the recovery? Obviously, disappointed, I imagine, but looking to the positive.
Yeah, it's coming along nicely. It's obviously frustrating. I've tried to keep myself away a little bit. I find it a bit difficult at times to watch. You feel a bit helpless. But no, I'm making good progress. Hopefully start some low-level bowling of some description next week and build up towards then. Still not quite sure on time frames. It'll all dictate how my body's feeling. But up until now, I've had some good response to the work I've been put in front of me. So yeah, hopefully I'm not a million miles off and I'll be back before the end of the T20, fingers crossed.
Well, it would be fantastic to see you out there. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're happy to stick around at the very end, and we'll get a bit of obviously after post-match reaction from ourselves. But last words really, the Outlaws chasing 227. We're in for a good chase. It's not the highest that we've seen here, 262 here by the Birmingham Bears. So there's chance there, and we've got to remain positive.
Yeah, we do. We've got the batting line up to chase this down, and I know the boys up there will know that we can go out there and win it. So I think it'll be an entertaining second half.
Perfect words. Right, time to hand you back over to Kyle and Dave Bracegirdle.
Seven balls to go, and Hampshire are 154 for 3 in the 15th over at Essex. So nobody so far tonight has got anywhere near what Worcestershire did around the country, with 226 for 5 on the board. And their fielders are making their way out onto the Trent Bridge outfield, with Joe Clark and Alex Hales on the way out for Nottinghamshire in the green and gold shirts with a green sash from left shoulder to right hip, green trousers and pads. Now Worcestershire all in black with a light blue trim on their shirts. And what this needs is a good solid start from Notts. And Dave Bracegirdle's been doing some research in the intervals, and if Notts are going to get this, it will be a record chase for them. They have chased down 223 before. They finished on 225 for 5. That was here against Yorkshire in 2017, but they've not ever chased 226 down, and that's what they've got to do tonight. Worcestershire teed off during the power play, and Kyle van Vollenhoven alongside me. You sense that either Joe Clark or Alex Hales need to do the same.
Most definitely. They've got to start well. When you're chasing such a big total like this, you have to start well. You can't afford to fall behind the 8 ball from the start, and the way these two play, I don't think that will happen, but it will be a very, very interesting start to the game.
Dylan Pennington is the man who's going to bowl from the Radcliffe Road end, and that is, it's quite a long way outside the off stump, but the umpire Paul Baldwin keeps his arms down.
Got away with one there, I think.
Joe Clark just had a little look, didn't he?
He did.
Saw quite a few wides given against Notts, 17 extras in the total. But Notts conceded, included the buys and leg buys and various things as well, but there were a few wides in there as well, not given here with the opening ball. Here's the next ball, and this is turned away through backward point, and I'll go through for a single. The throw comes in from the boundary, but missed the wicketkeeper by some distance and needed some backing up from Michael Bracewell. And Clark is off the mark. That brings Alex Hales on to strike. When the run rate, when you're starting, is at 11.5 and over, you know that you've not got any time to get your eye in. See what Hales can do. 2 consecutive 50s last 2 nights. Pennington is in to bowl to him. He dabs it away square on the offside, out to point, and pretty much walks through for a comfortable single to get himself off the mark.
What these two will know, though, that you can't win the game in the first 6, but you certainly can lose it. So I don't think that they want to get too ahead of themselves and try to go at a rate of knots too quickly and find themselves 3 or 4 down, because they're not winning from there. So give yourself some time to get in.
Here's Pennington, and again to Clark, who plays this lofted, and again it's out through point, and the fielder out on the point boundary. I think it's Pat Brown who's out there. He's been busy in this opening over, and again it's just a single. And it's 3 for no wicket from the first 4 balls.
Pennington clearly trying to go quite wide, take away the short boundary. Deep point out as well as he continues.
Into Hales, who has a swing and a miss at this. Goes through to wicket-keeper Ben Cox, and there's no run. So it's a decent first over this from Pennington.
Nice start from Pennington, really nice start. I think one thing he has done is held the line, hasn't he? Not what the Notts bowlers, not how the Notts bowlers started.
Yeah, very expensive, very early Notts. Here's Pennington again, the last ball of the opening over. Hales moved around a little bit in the crease and ended up just dabbing it down towards short third and take a single. And the first over comes to an end with Notts on 4 without loss. Clark and Hales both on 2 each.
Really nice first over from Pennington. Held the length, bowled really nicely. Didn't let Hales's foot movement last ball there try to upset him. Didn't. Gets out the over really nicely. Mitchell Santner, we saw him do this a lot for the Super Kings when he did play, bowling in the power play. So it's obviously a tactic that Worcester are obviously looking to use as well.
Yeah, he's hardly coming into this off no cricket, is he?
No.
Come in to play for Worcestershire Rapids. Didn't work for him with the bat. Caught and bowled by Stephen Mullaney for just 6 when those around him went for 44, 55, 42, 51. There were runs to be had, but Santner unable to cash in. See what he can do with the ball as Hales prepares to face the New Zealander, whose left arm round the wicket. And just nudged away out onto the onside up towards mid-on by Hales, fielded by Finch, and no run. Here's Santner again, and this is lofted by Hales through the covers for 4, away towards the short boundary. It's a man at extra cover who was interested in that, as it went in the end probably 5 or 6 yards right of him and through for 4 runs. First boundary of the innings.
Really nice from Hales. He's giving himself a little bit of room. In truth, really nice ball by Santner, but even better played by Hales.
Here's Santner in again, and Hales playing this one off his toes up towards the mid-wicket boundary, sort of halfway between the fielding circles and the boundary as Brown comes in to field. And a single. Hales on to 7, 9 without loss. Midway through the second over, remember Notts chasing 227 to win. And Clark to face his first ball from Mitchell Santner. Crouches down low. They're appealing here for something. Maybe appealing for a catch behind as it went through to the wicket-keeper. It was well down leg side. Must have thought it, well, they were hoping that it grazed a little bit of bat. Nothing doing.
Must have brushed the pad, no wide either.
Here is Santner again. It's a dot ball, and this is played with a leading edge by Clark out towards extra cover. Haynes fields, no run again.
Very, very nice start this from Santner.
Slow left arm up round the wicket to Clark, who's flicking this off his hip, but not very far off his hip, and the wicket-keeper Ben Cox runs around square of the wicket to do the fielding, and that is another dot ball to get out of the over, and it's 9 for no wicket after 2, which is where Worcestershire were after 1, and after 2 they were 23 without loss.
Not exactly the start that they would have been wanting, would it not? They would have liked to get off to a bit of a better start. But the Rapids have bowled really nicely, and you need to give credit where credit's due. Santner, really experienced campaigner. You could see that. Bowling towards the short boundary to 2 right-handers, both trying to give themselves room, and he's dealt with it brilliantly as Pennington continues to Hales.
That's Adam Finch who's coming on. Another blonde-haired quick bowler, and this is slapped over the covers by Alex Hales for 4. Races away, having lofted it over the inner ring of fielders, and races away in front of the Fox Road stand for 4. Loosener perhaps from Adam Finch, nowhere near as accurate as the previous 12 balls have been pretty much from his teammates.
Apologise to our listeners there, but that is an incredible cricket shot from Alex Hales. Gives himself a bit of room and slaps it over the covers for 4.
Here's Finch again, 13 without loss. And Hales this time has played this straight. It's high, and it's a 1 bounce 4 over long on this time from Alex Hales, who's starting to get going. It's taken a couple of overs to get his eye in, a couple of balls to get his eye in, and 4-4 off the first 2 balls of Adam Finch's first over, the third of the innings. It's 17 without loss.
Really lovely shot, stands nice and tall, straight back over mid-on, and that's gone for 4 more. Finch to continue.
A word from Mitchell Santner in Finch's ear before he sets off, away from us from the Radcliffe Road end, and this is cut away hard on the offside, out towards the point boundary again. That's Pat Brown out there once more, who fields, and it's just a single this time for Hales.
One thing that Pennington did really nicely is he did hold the length in that first over, and Finch has almost gone searching, hasn't he, Colin? He's tried to get it nice and full and been met with 2 boundaries.
See what Joe Clark can do with him. Finch is in again, and Clark has hammered this down the ground. That's high, and 6 runs straight back over the bowler's head, and it ends up probably middle tier of the Radcliffe Road stand. Hard for us to see because it disappears from view beyond our balcony, but that's a big hit from Joe Clark.
It's a lovely cricket shot. Once again, Finch going too full, and Joe Clark not going to miss out there. Says thank you very much and helps himself to 6 runs.
Actually dropped a bit shorter than that. Must have had quite a steep downward trajectory on it. Ended up in the black sight screens. 6 though to Clark. Here's Finch, and Clark just dabs this one out off the upper end of his bat to cover, and there is just a single this time, but it's 25 without loss with a ball to come in this, the 3rd over.
More of what Notts need here. Really big 3rd over. Started off by Hales. Joe Clark getting into the action a little bit now.
Hales back on to strike for the final ball of the over. Adam Finch is in again, and Hales gives himself room and swipes at this over cover for 6. Big hit from Alex Hales. He got the levers working on that as he just gave himself a little bit of room and hammers this high over cover for 6. See many offside 6s, but that's crunched away by Hales. He and Clark both find maximums in the 3rd over, and it's 31 without loss after 3.
Once again, that is a really good over, trying to get Notts back on track, and I think they may have here as Bracewell continues. Well, Bracewell to come in to bowl from the pavilion end now. Joe Clark on strike, but Notts now 31 for no loss after 3 seem to have got themselves back in the game.
On the way to doing so, for sure. A lot of work to do, of course. If you are just joining us here on BBC Radio Nottingham tonight from Trent Bridge, they're chasing Notts 227. after Worcestershire piled on the runs, 2-2-6 for 5, but a lot of that damage was done in the power play overs. They ended the power play, the Rapids, on 87 without loss, and Notts trying to do something similar. 31 for no wicket after 3. Here is Michael Bracewell into Clark, again pace off the ball from the pavilion end, and Clark nudges this one away, and they've scampered through for a single onto the leg side.
Looks like that's going to be the tactic. Spin into the wicket, making it very hard as he continues here to Hales.
Hales backing away from this and crashes it away, square on the offside for 4. Alex Hales' timing so far has been superb. Just stepped back from this again and crunched it square of the wicket, through point for 4, and I think he knew it the moment it left his bat, and every fielder knew it the moment it left his bat. 4 more to Hales, he's on to 26, and this time he's gone over long on for a long off rather for another 6. 6 more for Alex Hales towards the Batman's scoreboard at the far end of the ground alongside the pavilion, and it just drops a couple of rows into the front of the Smith Cooper stand right next to that scoreboard. 6 more to Hales, it's 32 to him, and it's 42 without loss after 3.5 overs. Bracewell is in again to Hales, who's pulled him away this time behind square on the leg side, but there is a fielder. You can hear the boos from the crowd. Mitchell Santner at deep backward square leg fields on the first bounce, and Hales has to settle for 1. Well, we said it'd be exciting if Notts have a go at this. They certainly are doing. Here's Bracewell again into Clark, who's chipping this away square on the offside over the fielders, who are all up inside the circle, over their heads and away for 4 runs. 4 to Clark. Luke Fletcher is back with us. He was, if you weren't with us earlier, he joined us, Notts fast bowler, injured at the moment, joined us towards the end of the Worcestershire innings, and was saying it was going to be exciting when these two get going. Here's Bracewell in again. Clark a couple of paces down the pitch and then plays it circumspectly out towards mid-wicket, and they trot through for a single. Well, they've started well, Luke.
They have. They've got themselves both in. Halesy looks in great touch. He's timing the ball nicely, which is always a good sign. And Clark, it looks like he's just starting to get going. So these last 2 overs of this power play, as we said earlier, you know, you've not lost a wicket yet. You can go very hard. We've got 2 overs here to go as hard as we possibly can. And if we survive that, and Clark and Hales are still in, we've got a really good chance. Stopping the boundaries on here is very hard, as we saw the first innings.
It's exactly what you were saying, wasn't it, about the Worcestershire innings? And 4 overs in we are now, and Notts are 48 without loss, and 4 overs in, Worcestershire were 48 without loss. Scores are exactly the same after 4 overs.
This is a real tough over with a short boundary on the leg side, which Clark will be eyeing up, I'm for sure.
It's Pennington to come in, and this is steered nicely through third man area by Joe Clark. They're thinking about 2. They hesitated a bit, then they decided there was definitely 1 there for the throw, and they've come through with Clark running towards the danger end to get 2. 50 partnership from 25 balls. Hales has 33, Clark has 17. 50 from 25 balls is kind of all you need to know really about the start of this innings.
This is an absolute graveyard for fast bowlers, this pitch. It looks an absolute belter.
Pennington is in again, and Clark has a big swing at this and didn't quite get hold of it, and it's fielded at mid-on, and there is a rare dot ball.
Just tried to overhit that one, I think, Clark. There you go. He's had another go at that practice. Just like he tried to hit that one too hard, tried to muscle it a bit. But the one he hit before was lovely.
Twin blonde-haired figure of Dylan Pennington turns in front of us and runs away from the Radcliffe Road stand. Right arm over the wicket.
Get up!
And Clark has hit this.
Get
There's
up!
a fielder running after it, not going to get there. Now where's the ball going to go? Has it got the pace on it?
Four.
It has, just about. Fielder racing backwards, tried to take a diving catch, couldn't. Ball kept going. Fielder got up, tried to chase after it, couldn't get there. 4 to Clark eventually.
That's the bit of luck you need. You never know now. Clark will go on a rampage. This could be absolute chaos. Everyone's going to be out tonight in Nottingham. Richard will be absolutely rammed. It's a shame I'm driving. I might drop it off and get an Uber back. We're all out if we win this.
Trent Bridge are certainly enjoying this, aren't they?
Yeah, very much into it now. As, here's Pennington in again. Clark scoop shot and scoops it straight over the wicket-keeper and down to the pavilion for 4 runs. And now we're starting to see the full repertoire from both of them. Clark on to 25, Hales 33, Knotts 58 for no wicket. And while we were looking at the likes of D'Oliveira and Bracewell and Hose and Haynes hitting it well and thinking that looks a nice pitch, I'm sure Clark and Hales were thinking,
get me out there. Let me have a go on that.
Licking their lips.
Let me get on there.
When wickets are this flat, are you happy you're not bowling, Fletch?
No, mate. I like the challenge. I like the challenge.
Here's Pennington again.
No,
down leg,
no!
down, hooked away by Joe Clark, straight down the throat of the fielder at fine leg, up inside the circle, and Clark is gone. Clark goes for 25. It was Bracewell who was there for that very shot. And Worcestershire get their first wicket, and Clark trudges off looking absolutely furious. Even though we can only see his back, the body language, he's now looking up to the skies. He's hit his bat with his right fist already. Not happy, but he has to go for 25. Notts lose their first wicket, 58 for 1.
If that goes a metre left or right, that's a boundary.
That is so unlucky. As a bowler, you'd never bowl for wickets like that, as you know.
No.
You just don't. Then fielders are there to stop the ball from going for a boundary. And it's just unfortunate. You know, as a bowler, I'm licking my lips and saying thank you very much. I'll have another pole, please.
Cricketing gods have looked down kindly there.
He's had a chance previously in the over, hasn't he, from D'Oliveira that put him down, and he didn't get away with that one, which is a real shame. But in comes Colin Munro, which will work well for Notts actually, because we've got now left hand and right hand combination, so we can target that short side each over, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And hopefully he does what he did the other night against Durham, hit his first ball for 6.
He did.
Which is it's happening a lot these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
You used to have a look for 2 or 3 overs, get your eye in.
Yeah, don't do that anymore.
Bang.
Don't do that anymore.
It's boring. What? Boring now.
I'll go back to the old school days. Have a look. Have a look.
I'd certainly like them to have a look of my bowling.
58 for 1. Here's the last ball of the 5th over. Pennington bowls it, and Munro's just defending this away. And that is a dot ball.
There you go, Fletch.
It's his old team, Munro, wasn't it? He was a Worcester Rapid last year, wasn't he? Who got him out here last year?
I'm not sure.
Hey. I got him. To be fair, he was smacking us everywhere. I think he got 70 odd, and it was getting to that time we thought we need to get him out here, otherwise it could be carnage like it was today, really. Great lad.
So you delivered
top
the
man.
goods.
I got lucky, I think. just let go of it and hope for the best.
All right, last over the power play. Pat Brown is coming into the attack, so 5 bowlers used across the 6 power play overs. Dylan Pennington the only one who's had 2. 58 for 1 after 5 overs. Hales on 33 and on strike. 13 balls he's faced. Here's Brown in 2 Hales, who's again playing this just behind square on the offside this time. Beautifully timed again. And once again, from the moment it left his bat, it was 4.
It's a great shot. Great shot. Hasn't looked to overhit it. Nice little punch off the back foot, and that races away for 4.
Looks to me like Hales is setting himself for Pat Brown's slower balls. He's famous for the knuckleball. That's what got him into international cricket. He played for England. Not too many games, but he's got a great knuckleball, so he's setting for that.
Here he comes again, Brown, and that's down the leg side, and that'll be a wide.
To bowl that one again, sir.
Do that one again. 63 for 1. Still with 5 power play balls to come. Hales will be looking to cash in on those as much as he can.
I tell you what, whatever happens, it's been a great night so far, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it does make it more exciting when the pitches are flat and the balls flying everywhere. It's just the fact that I'm a fast bowler that it just hurts me really. But for the spectators, it's brilliant.
Here's Brown again. That's down the leg side as well, but it's nudged by Alex Hales and it races away for 4. He just sort of helped it on its way. 4 runs down in front of us at the Radcliffe Road stand, and another boundary for Hales. And Notts on to 67 for 1.
Once again, Pat Brown drifting onto Hales' pads and missed the first one, hasn't missed this one. Cash in. Someone bowls there.
Send it on its way. Here's Brown again from the pavilion end, racing into Hales, and again Hales goes offside. This time he lofts it more than previously over the inner ring of fielders. All the fielders on the offside are up inside the circle, and that is away for 4 more to Alex Hales.
Crowd's revved up now. Everyone's feeling a night in Bridgeford after this. Hudson Odoi, any truth in that? Hudson Odoi at the Reds next year. He's here tonight at Trent Bridge. He's in the boxers. Hudson Odoi. Kieran Teane is with him.
Hales on 45, eyeing up a 3rd consecutive half-century as he plays this one into cover, and there's no run.
He's getting booed by the crowd. Get on with it, Hales.
45, 50 the other night, 50 up at Durham.
He's in good touch there.
Yeah.
He's a solid performer. He's a banker in it all around the world really now these days. Pakistan does well. Australia's got a great record.
He can time it so well from so early in the innings.
He does. He's brilliant.
Here's Brown into Hales, and this one is maybe a little bit of a false shot as he pulls it away, but it's gone safe. A little bit too close to mid-wicket. I don't think it came quite round far enough that, as Alex Hales was intending.
Happy with the power play, gents?
72 for 1.
I would have thought so.
Puts them in with a chance.
Got a chance. We've got a sniff, haven't we?
Most definitely. You would have taken this.
Yeah, I mean, disappointed McClarkey. I thought he was unlucky there. It's just slowed us down slightly. Well, having said that, Brown's gone for 14 in 5 balls.
And Munro to face. It's only the 2nd ball he's faced.
Oh, that's another 4.
It's outside the off stump and crunches it away for 4. Again, it's beautifully timed. And it's 4 more. And that is the end of the over, the end of the power play. And it's 76 for 1 at the end of those 6 overs. In contrast, Worcestershire were 87 with Outlaws. There is not a lot in it. It's kind of the power play that Notts needed. They're going along at 12 and over, needing just under 10 and over now, but of course it's the end of the power play, so the fielding restrictions are relaxed. But Hales on 46 and going well, and Mitchell Santner is going to come back into the attack.
He is indeed, and I think this game is going to depend on very much how Notts play Mitchell Santner here. I think international bowler, brilliant at what he does, and if Notts play him well, I think they're in for a big chance at winning this. And Santner holds the key for Worcester.
Santner from the Radcliffe Road end into Hales, who plays this wide of the man who's had extra cover, and out towards the cover boundary. The cover sweep is Pat Brown. And as that's finding its way back towards Santner from the wicket-keeper, it's hit Alex Hales. Santner runs across to apologise, make sure Hales is okay. Nothing intentional. Well, I don't think it was intentional.
No.
So, Hales just gave a little hard stare to N. Cox, the wicket-keeper, but Santner smoothed things over, and then Santner has to field off his own bowling as Munro plays it back down the pitch, slightly on the onside. 77 for 1. Santner again into Munro. Only the 4th ball he's faced, slightly down the leg side, enough down the leg side for a wide to be called.
He's going to have to bowl that one again, and on wickets like this you don't want to be bowling extra balls.
And Santner again, slow left armour over the wicket to Munro, the left-hander, who paddles this away towards, in the end, square leg. But, Brown came a long way into field, and a long way round actually to field. And another single. Munro to 5, Notts to 79 for 1. And here's Santner again, into Hales, who's played this nicely up towards long off. It's a good cricket shot, just leant on it, and away it goes, just for a single this time. As Kashif Ali fields. Another single, 48 to Hales, edging closer to that third consecutive 50. Santner into Munro. Munro onto the back foot, steers this round towards mid-wicket. And again, Brown is the fielder. And again, Notts take a single.
Nice tidy over again from Mitchell Santner.
Yeah, just 5 from it so far. 5 singles, I think, from each ball. Single from each ball. And Hales to face the last. This is given some air, and then it's punched over cover. And will Brown get there? Yes, he has. It's a great piece of fielding. He has to dive just to tap it inside the rope to stop it going for 4. And then Kashif Ali comes and helps him out by throwing it in. But that is 2 more to Alex Hales, and that is 50 for Alex Hales again. It's the 3rd match in a row that Hales has reached 50. This one has come from just 21 balls, and it's helped to get Notts to 83 for 1 after 7 overs, chasing 227.
It's a lovely innings from Alex Hales. Looked in good nick from the start, and he's just timed it beautifully. Hitting some beautiful shots all around the ground. And Notts are going along quite nicely at 83 for 1.
That's great consistency from Hales, isn't it? You sort of feel that Notts tonight, with this big total on the board that they're chasing, they need him to go on from here now.
Definitely.
Munro in for support as well. Bracewell's continuing from the pavilion end, and he sees this one back down the pitch out towards the mid-off area, and that enables Munro to go through for a single.
They need Hales too.
Yeah. To
kick on and stay there now, don't they?
It feels that way. I mean, the thing is about Worcestershire is that nobody did, but the next batsman then just kept the momentum going, didn't they? They all got to 40s and 50s. Nobody really went on, but enough of them did the damage, and Hales just plays this one up towards long on, and they walk through for another one.
Felt like with Worcester, where one batsman left off, the other took over when a wicket fell, and Notts look at this very moment in time, they're going about it a different way, which is why I think we're saying that Hales just needs to carry on and stay out there.
Bracewell 0 for 19 from 8 balls so far, but he's got a dot here. This is his first dot ball. He's fielded at extra cover from Munro. He's on 7 from 7 balls, and his 8th is pulled away up towards long on. First bounce and fielded, and held back in by Adam Hose all the way up there. So again, it's just 1. Hales has 51. It's 86 for 1. Here's Bracewell into Hales. He's given this some width, and it's chopped away through towards the cover boundary by Hales, but this time they've got a man out there. Now the restrictions have been relaxed after the power play overs. They can defend that boundary a bit more against Hales, who's been cutting hard square on the offside so far tonight. It means he's just restricted to 1 here. And Bracewell into Munro. Munro, bit of a false shot, which ends up going out towards mid-off, but he was aiming, I think, on the onside. But it's safe. Trot through for another single. Looks at the toe end of his bat, which I think is where that one came off. Not where he was intending it. That's the end of 8 overs. And Nottinghamshire going along very nicely at 88 for 1 as they chase down 227 to try and pull off what would be an incredible victory. Words from Kyle van Vollenhoven, and then commentary on BBC Radio Nottingham continues with Dave Bracegirdle.
Two very nice, tidy overs there from Worcester after what was a chaotic 6th over. Pat Brown to continue here. Notts, well, Dave, you would have watched a lot more than all of us. What would you think? Where do you think they would be feeling after these 8 overs? How would they be feeling?
Well, it's never been done before. Notts record chase, as Colin said at the start. Yorkshire made 223 for 5 here 6 years ago, and Notts got over the line with 5 balls to spare. We've not got as many as this. Now Munro's got underneath this one, and he should be taken down here just in front of the Radcliffe Road stand, and it's been comfortably caught by Kashif Ali, and Colin Munro has to go. That's a real dent to the Notts Outlaws' chances there. Munro, quick scorer, dangerous hitter, has made just 9, just got underneath it, sent it many a mile up into the Trent Bridge sky, and down it came into the safe hands of Ali, and Pat Brown's got a wicket, 88 for 2.
Really nicely bowled by Pat Brown once again, as most of the seamers have been doing all night, taking pace off the ball. Colin Munro threw the shot too early, and it's gone straight up in the air, and a nice catch from Ali, even though the crowd did try to put him off. Kept his cool, took a good catch. Notts lose their second, 88 for 2. Matthew Montgomery comes to the crease.
Yes, Montgomery began this competition with 51 here against Derbyshire, made 41 at Old Trafford, 6 against Durham and 28 against Yorkshire on Tuesday, displaying the all-round stroke play that has made many people feel he's got a career that could go right to the very top. Steep learning curve, out you go with a record run chase potentially to be secured this evening. His first ball is steered to backward point, and there's no run. 88 for 2. Hales then 350s in a row, the highest Notts run chase, that one against Yorkshire in 2017. Alex Hales scored a century. He might have to do something similar this evening.
That'll definitely be the plan.
There's Pat Brown, 4 England appearances back in 2018. This one short and wide, and Montgomery tries to slash it away, gets nothing on it as it goes through to wicketkeeper Ben Cox, who wasn't required to wander out to the crease this evening. They kept coming for the Rapids, and they kept delivering. It was a terrific initial power play, and they didn't really lose the momentum. There was a little burst of 2 or 3 wickets for Notts just after the halfway stage, but they quickly got back on track as Montgomery gets off the mark, punching this down the ground to long on. But that's the first single from this over, the 9th. 89 for 2. Run rate just above 12, 12.1. As I was sat at the back of the box, Kyle, listening to you and Colin, the last 2 or 3 overs, I was watching it, and it was around about steadying, around about 11 required, but it's just slipped over 12 now with this over, not really giving Notts a great deal of forward momentum after the loss of Colin Munro.
Really is hard to keep going at 12 consistently all the time, and they pulled this back really nicely.
There's Brown, runs away from us, straight approach, bowls to Hales, who's dragged this onto the leg side. The field is set deep. He'll take a single, but that's a win for Worcestershire. They don't mind giving Hales singles, they don't mind seeing him make his way down to the non-striker's end. He'll be the one that they know, if he has a little spell of keeping the strike and blasts 3 or 4 sixes in the space of 8 or 9 balls, can really get Notts close. But they're keeping him pretty much under check at the moment as Brown bowls to Montgomery. That was full. A little bit of batting involved, I think. They've taken a single. Is the umpire going to signal a leg by? No, he won't. He'll just call over. So 91 for 2 after 9. They're going along at 10 and over. They need to be going along at 12 and over. But there is a platform there. It'll be interesting to see how Notts go from here if a wicket falls, though. Tom Moores has been coming in at 5. Then Lyndon James. We've hardly seen Samit Patel, Stephen Mullaney or Shaheen Shah Afridi with the bat. And they're all capable of clearing the ropes several times. And Notts might need that this evening.
Most definitely. Notts do, as you said, have a platform, and they do need to start launching. 12.36 required an over. D'Oliveira to bowl from the pavilion end.
Yeah, the leg spinner into the attack, bowls to Montgomery, and he's punched this along the ground to deep mid-wicket towards the Hound Road stand. They'll come back for a couple of runs. Biggest boundary, you'd say, on the ground, that, wouldn't you? And hit it along the ground. Went very quickly, but a couple of fielders out there closed down on it. 93 for 2. Montgomery's on 4. Next ball, gone for a reverse. He's lifted it up in the air, and this should be a catch. And he's gone. Montgomery's out. And Brett D'Oliveira with the wicket. And a fairly simple catch from the Kiwi, Michael Bracewell. The reverse sweep. Montgomery's downfall, 93 for 3.
Monty getting on the reverse sweep. He's tried to hit it over the top. Unfortunately, it's got a top edge and, well, a very, very comfortable catch being taken, and D'Oliveira gets the breakthrough. Not 93 for 3, losing 2 quick wickets now, as Tom Moores now walks to the crease.
Yeah, Moores has had starts in all the 4 matches. 16, 41 not out at Old Trafford, 32 against Durham, 15 not out against Yorkshire, but it was 15 not out from 15 balls for Tom Moores. He tried his level best in the last 2 or 3 overs to find the ropes, or indeed clear the ropes, without any great success. He's got a little bit of time here, but as Carl was saying, can't hang around too long when you need 2 a ball effectively.
No, never nice coming into a situation where you need 12 and a half and over, and you can't really give yourself a sighter. However, he will be eyeing up that short boundary with the leg spinner spinning it into him.
There is D'Oliveira then from the pavilion end. Bowls, Moores forces it into the offside, but straight to point, and there's no run. Santner doing the fielding. He's had a good night then so far. D'Oliveira made 44 and a wicket in his first over. Bowls now to Moores, and he's unleashed one into the Smith-Cooper stand for 6, right up at the very back of the Smith-Cooper stand. Good, clean connection from Tom Moores. That's got the crowd believing once again. My word, he got hold of that one.
Wow, that's nailed the back of the Smith-Cooper stand, and I did say Tom Moores would be looking at that short boundary. Didn't take him long.
99 for 3. D'Oliveira in again. A quicker one, helped away again. Man on the fence. Will it be 6 and out? It will. D'Oliveira's got 2 in the over, and Tom Moores has to go. 99 for 4. And the wheels are coming off for the Outlaws in this particular over. Hales at the non-striker's end can only look on and shake his head ruefully. But Moores pushed his first ball into the offside, his second a big 6, and his third he attempted it again, but he couldn't clear Pollock on that leg side fence. And Moores has gone for 6, and it's 99 for 4.
D'Oliveira comes in, looks like he's tried to bowl a faster ball. It is halfway down the track, and Moores could have hit that anywhere, and he decided to pick out deep backward square leg. He will be very frustrated and very disappointed at that, as Notts lose their second in the over. Lyndon James walking to the crease now.
It's tough now with 4 wickets down already. Lyndon James coming in at 6. His scores thus far: 1 not out, 16 not out, 20 and 11 not out. Not had too many balls to face in any of those innings. 1 ball left in the 10th over. This has been a wretched over for Notts. It's D'Oliveira bowls again to Lyndon James, and he can only punch it back to the bowler, who has a word with Alex Hales, who's down on the ground. All good humoured, I'm sure. The end of the over, 99 for 4, and D'Oliveira 1 over, no maidens, 2 for 8.
It's a nice start, isn't it? I'd be very happy with a start like that. Hopefully get that tomorrow, Dave. It'd be nice.
Where are you tomorrow?
We're at home also wouldn't mind taking this pitch with me and putting it up at Clifton.
Surely just as a batter, you wouldn't
just as a batter, and
bowling on it, would you?
And then change it to a used one for the bowling, as Sander is going to continue here to Hales, who really now looks the key in Notts' chase now, doesn't he?
There's a interested bystander at that last over. Alex Hales watched a couple of wickets go down while he was leaning on his back at the non-striker's end. Mitchell Santner, the Kiwi, bowls to Hales, who drags this away on the leg side, can't quite find the gap, well fielded by Pollock, and there's just a single. Alex Hales once wore the colours of Worcestershire. Notts let him briefly go on loan. In the end he only ended up playing one match and was then recalled here back in 2014. Played for Worcestershire on loan at Sophia Gardens, Cardiff. Made 15 and 63 for them. 100 up. Santner to Lyndon James. This is down the leg side, but Lyndon James was also backing away, so he just helps it out again as far as Ed Pollock. Another single taken, 101 for 4, and that rate now is 13.
Climbing ever so steadily. Santner being one of the reasons why it is climbing so steadily. He's bowled really, really nicely. 2.2 over 0 for 14 now as he continues.
Comes in to Hales, and he's allowed Hales to open his arms and smash it down the ground straight for 6. Santner knew he'd got his line wrong immediately, and Alex Hales just relished the chance to get one in his arc. Just smashed it back over the bowler's head, nice and straight for 6 runs.
Well, stand and deliver, straight back over the bowler's head, straight into the bottom of the side screen at the Radcliffe Road End, and Alex Hales moves on to 60 of 26 balls.
That's the commodity. Notts are going to need lots of 6s if they're going to get close here. They still require 120 more. Santner round the wicket bowls. Hales across his crease, had to wait for the ball. Pace taken off it by Santner. Hales helps himself to a single, moves on to 61. 108 for 4. In that Worcestershire innings there were 11 6s. Not so far. I've hit 4 with that recent blow from Hales. Santner wide of the off stump, chopped away by Lyndon James into the offside. There'll only be a single there. 109 for 4.
What he has done really nicely is he's changed the pace that he's bowled at. Couple quicker, fired in at the pads, and then a couple nice and slow. He continues.
This is his 3rd over. Final ball of it. Bowls again. Cut to point by Hales, and there's no run. D'Oliveira doing the fielding. 109 for 4 after 11. And Notts still hovering round about the 13 runs and over required from the final 9. It's going to be a tough old run chase this, but it will be a record-breaking one if they get there. The DJ doing his level best to just get the crowd excited and involved, and maybe even just try and get them to believe that Notts can get there. But I think the only thing that's really going to get them genuinely excited is if Alex Hales, with a little bit of help from his friends, can start clearing that rope regularly.
I agree with you. Lyndon James needs to join the party.
He's going to face Bracewell. His first 2 overs went for 22. Lyndon James just bunts this down the ground for a single. Moves on to 3, 110 for 4. Still going on at a cracking rate here, Hales. 61 from 28 balls faced. 3rd consecutive 50 in this year's competition. It's on strike now and goes down on one knee, and will drag this one away for 4 towards the Fox Road side of the ground. It's a good meaty connection. Had to get plenty on it. It's quite a way out there towards the Fox Road stand. It bisected the 2 fielders that were out there just hoping that he'd hit one up in the air, but Hales with plenty on it gets the boundary. Bracewell again. Bowls. Hales nearly snookered himself there. He was wandering outside the off stump, and Bracewell perhaps saw him going, tried to spear it down the leg side, but Hales gets a bat on it. Moves to 66, 115 for 4. Worcestershire 3 wins out of 3. Notts 1-2, lost 2. Next ball sees Lyndon James come down the track and be comprehensively bowled. He's gone for 3, 115 for 5. If he hadn't been bowled, he'd have been well and truly stumped, because he was closer to Alex Hales than he was to the sanctuary of his own crease. Went to charging down the track. Not entirely sure that was totally necessary, but Lyndon saw it differently. It's 115 for 5 as he goes. Maybe he just felt it was time he weighed in with some big blows, but he can't do that back in the dugout. He's been bowled by Bracewell for just 3.
That's what pressure does, Dave. Makes you do things that you wouldn't often do, and when the run rate is that high, feels like you need to take more risks. And it has been his downfall. Has been bowled by Bracewell, who in truth saw him coming, fired it through, and has beat Lyndon James all ends up.
Just as a guide, we do have the Duckworth Lewis pass score on the scoreboard here, and Notts, to be fair, have been pretty much neck and neck with it up until the last few deliveries, and with that wicket they're now 22 behind. They should be around about 137 now. They're 115 for 5 as the skipper comes to the crease, Stephen Mullaney. He's facing Bracewell, who bowls, fires one in, and Mullaney helps it down the ground. Mullaney's only been required to bat twice, or has only gone to the middle twice. Kyle was here last Friday when he dragged his first ball on to be clean bowled for naught, and then at Old Trafford he made 19, so this is his 3rd innings. Hale's back on strike. Everybody watches as he punches this nice and firm and straight. Can Mullaney come back to make it 2? He can indeed. I think Alex Hales always believed there were a couple of runs there. And at the end of the over, he moves on to 68. It's 118 for 5 with 8 overs left. Remember, that target is 227.
Once again, nice tidy over. The one boundary coming in that over, but once again, Worcester keep picking up wickets all the time, regularly now, and Notts are 118 for 5. New batter Stephen Mullaney. Finch, the new bowler, bowling from the Radcliffe Road end.
It's going to be Adam Finch, resident Trent Bridge DJ, just turning the music up a notch or two. Finch, his first ever went for 22. Something similar, please. First ball is just guided down to 3rd man, chopped away by Mullaney for a single. Brings Hales back onto strike. I think he's got to see more of the bowling now than his batting partners from now until the end. It's a lot of responsibility on Alex Hales' shoulders, but he's been in this sort of situation many times before and delivered for all the various teams he's played around the world. That rate still under 14 and over. Worcestershire moving fielders hither and thither. 2 out on the offside fence, and maybe Finch will just try and offer a little bit of width here, preventing Hales from going to the leg side, and I think that would probably been a wide. Hales was walking outside his off stump to try and lever it away on the leg side, and he found the ball just sort of in his area. That would have certainly been a wide, wouldn't it, if he hadn't moved?
Most definitely. Most definitely. He's played that well outside the blue guidelines, as they call them nowadays, for the umpires. It's not always given a wide when it goes past them.
Mullaney's on strike. On 2, Adam Finch bowls to him, and Mullaney's tried to get a little cute, and now he's got to run down the other end because the ball almost lodged in his pads there as he got into a position just to try and scoop it past the keeper. Truth, he didn't make the best of jobs of that one, but another run, and he's got Hales back on strike.
That being the most important thing he could have done there, I believe.
Still Samit Patel to come, and Shaheen Shah Afridi. We've only seen Afridi once up at Durham, and he unleashed a couple of monster blows. Big 6 to win the match. Finch sets off from level with the 30-yard discs at this end. Bowls now, and Hales will drag this out again along the ground towards the William Clark stand. Out to Santner. Left arm throw from the Kiwi. And one more to Alex Hales, who moves to 70. It's 122 for 5 here on BBC Radio Nottingham at the cricket. The 5th match for Notts Outlaws in this year's group stage of the T20 competition. There are 14 matches in all, and they come thick and fast with matches both tomorrow and Sunday. Finch past umpire Baldwin's left shoulder, bowls. That's got to be wide, sir, surely. It's gone through to Ben Cox, and nothing given by the umpire.
There's been a couple of those in this innings so far that they've got away with.
There were one or two very early on in the Worcestershire innings that were called against the Notts bowlers, and you could see that Stephen Mullaney, the captain, and the bowlers were a little unhappy about it. And I would imagine they'd just sort of been told, you know, it'll be the same for both sides. Doesn't appear to be at the moment as Finch bowls. Mullaney will drive into the offside, fielded by Brett D'Oliveira. They'll take a single as D'Oliveira fumbles it, but it was a good stop. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the end of the 13th. The Outlaws require 104 more from 42.
Well, if we're going to see any fireworks, we need to start seeing them very soon. Especially from Alex Hales, 70 off 33. Responsibility mainly on his shoulders here to get Notts over the line against the Rapids.
Need 100, or just over 100, in 7 overs. That, I guess in layman's terms, that's the easiest way of saying it, isn't it? It's 104 from 42 balls, but when you say they've only got 7 overs left and they still need just over 100, just tells you the size of their task. It's going to be Brett D'Oliveira, the Rapid skipper from the pavilion end. Bowls now, and Mullaney has unleashed this out onto the offside, and he's going to be caught, and he has been caught just inside the rope in front of the Smith Cooper stand. And Stephen Mullaney gave himself a little bit of room, deliberately lifted it up and over extra cover, but couldn't clear the rope. Good sliding catch there by Adam Hose on the fence, and it's 123 for 6, and Mullaney's out for 4.
It's a great catch. Stephen Mullaney looking to target that shorter boundary, so the leg spinner hasn't got enough of it. Adam Hose comes running around, diving catch, beautifully taken, and in comes the local hero Samit Patel. What have you got for us tonight, Samit?
Big favourite, yeah. He's faced 1 ball in this competition, which he hit for 4 to win the match here against Derbyshire. Even that, you'd have to say there was an element of fortune over it. I don't know if you remember it last Friday. Kyle over the keeper's head, and it sailed down here below us for 4.
Well, they need that strike rate tonight. That's all I can say. Is D'Oliveira's got some incredible figures this evening, hasn't he?
Yeah, 3 for 8. He's only bowled 7 balls. Samit Patel, then, his career has almost come full circle. He played in the very first season of the T20 Blast in 2003, batting at 8. Well, it's been much, much higher throughout the last 2 decades. Now finds himself at 8, now finds himself with one heck of a job. And he does know. He's been there before, and he does know he's got Alex Hales at the other end. D'Oliveira in, 2 Samit Patel, who's getting Hales on strike immediately with a single down the ground to long on. 124 for 6. From the Worcestershire perspective, pretty much everything has gone right for them so far, but they'll still be fearing the hailstorm. D'Oliveira bowls, and Hales subdued Hales on that occasion. Again, just repeats what Patel did from the previous delivery and punches it down to long on. 125 for 6.
Well, Alex Hales is at the crease. The Trent Bridge crowd will still have some belief.
It's just gone over 15 and over now. That's tossed up there. Almost came down with snow on it from D'Oliveira, and Patel had to wait for it and wait for it and wait for it, and then could only nudge it to mid-wicket, and there's no run. Next delivery sees Patel cut it into the offside. 126 for 6. That rate's just gone over 16 and over now. If they require 16 from the last over, I think from here they'd take it. It would mean they've had a pretty good 5 overs to get to that situation. It's a lot of runs. 126 for 6. Next ball sees Hales hit it for, I think he's hit it for 6, has he? No, he's been caught, has he? They're claiming a catch on the boundary. One of those athletic efforts right on the fence. initially taken as the fielder went to fall over the boundary, tossed the ball up in the air, ran back inside and claimed the catch, and Alex Hales has got to go. Adam Hose, his second catch in the space of just a couple of minutes, and Hales out for 71, and with him I think goes Notts Outlaws' chances, and indeed one or two starting to head for the exits. 126 for 7 with still 100 required.
Well, we see now these days the players so good at doing this, catching it, and with the momentum that's taken them over the boundary, had the presence of mind just to throw it up and take the catch. Really, really good work from Adam Hose. D'Oliveira picking up his second of the over. He has got figures of, he's picked up 4 for 11, I think it is, as Shaheen Shah Hafridi comes to the crease now. Finch to continue.
Yeah, it's the end of the over. Yeah, D'Oliveira's figures, you're absolutely right, Carl. 2 overs, 4 for 11, having made 44 earlier in the evening. Not been a bad old night for Brett D'Oliveira. Remember, he lost the toss. It's going to be Mitchell Santner to bowl the 15th over. Samit Patel's on strike. And that rate now nudging 17 and over. There's plenty heading for the car parks and the bars that surround this Trent Bridge ground. They realise that this isn't going to be one that's going to be recovered from here, or very unlikely to be. 100 runs required from 6 overs. Santner round the wicket. Samit Patel leaves it alone because he knows it's a wide.
There you go. Finally got the wide that we've been looking for.
Some Worcestershire supporters in the ground. They're in good heart, good voice. Patel has missed this one. It's gone through to Cox. They're going to go 4 wins out of 4. Traditionally, they've struggled in this competition over the years. It all turned out well for them in 2018 as Patel comes down the track, slams it back at Santner, who puts it down. Hit back very, very hard by Samit Patel, but it was a clear caught and bowl chance which the Kiwi has dropped.
He's had a couple of goes at it as well, haven't stuck, and he's walked back to his mark shaking his hand.
Santner to continue, bowls to Patel. Again he comes down the track, and again he's lofted it. This time a couple of bouncers down to long on. They won the Blast in 2018, defeating Sussex in the final. In 2019, you may remember, they played Notts in the semi-final at Edgbaston, and Notts really lost their way. They wanted 6 runs from the last 7 balls and lost by 1. Final ball bowled by Wayne Parnell, and Ben Duckett couldn't get a bat on it. They lost in the final to Essex that year, Worcestershire. So they've been much stronger in this format in relatively recent times, but they've not started 4 wins out of 4 before. Next one is pushed into the offside and fielded by Dylan Pennington.
I must say, Dave, they have looked really good this evening.
Freedy's on strike. What can he do? Well, he's invited to hit one out onto the leg side, and that will go for 4. Slight misfield out there on the fence. Shouldn't matter too much, but Afridi gets a boundary. 132 for 7. Could be too little too late, but Shaheen Shah Afridi at least getting bat on ball.
Helped away to deep. Backward leg.
Santner in again to Afridi. Again he unloads out on the leg side. There'll only be a single. He's going to keep strike, because that is the end of the 15th over. And with 5 overs left, Notts Outlaws still require 94 runs. They've got Samit Patel and Shaheen Shah Afridi at the crease. There's only Matt Carter and Conor McCurr to come. It looks a forlorn task, but who knows? Words from Carl van Vollenhoven, and to see you through to the end, it'll be Colin Frey.
Notts staring down the barrel here of a heavy defeat to the Rapids. They have really, really fallen well short so far of where they need to be, as being 133 for 7. Colin, what do you make of it all?
Well, I think with Alex Hales going, that seemed to be the end of Nott's chances. I think the same as many people who have decided that when Hales' wicket went, they decided to leave. Bracewell's in, and Shaheen Shah Afridi has tried to pull him away over mid-wicket, and he's just about done it for 6. Jack Haynes was the man on the boundary and was not too far away, actually, sticking his hand up from being able to take the catch, but it was just measured right over the top of his hand and into the stand for 6. And this next one is a wide outside the off stump from Bracewell, and it's 140 for 7, but the run rate's still up to 18 and over, so Notts need to score 3 off every ball and only have 3 wickets in hand. Here's Bracewell again into Afridi, who's pulling this round towards the man at mid-wicket inside the circle, and there is no run. Afridi has 11, Patel on 3, and more people heading for the exits as Bracewell is into Afridi's got hold of this one again. That's gone for 6 more. Again over mid-wicket, he's crunched it away as Shaheen Shah Afridi, and again Haynes, well, he knew this time it was way too far away from him. Just got a little bit more elevation on this one, a little bit more power. That's 2 sixes in the over for Afridi, who's on to 17 from 6 balls. Here's Bracewell again. He's tried the same trick again. This has got a bit of a top edge, but it's still got enough on it. This time to go sailing over Adam Hose, and it's 3 in 4 balls from Shaheen Shah Afridi. 3 sixes. Bang, 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 all into the Smith-Cooper stand. All just about over the heads of the fielders, but far enough over the heads of those fielders.
It always says 6 in the scorebook, and if you need catching practice, get yourself over to the Smith-Cooper stand right now while Shaheen Shah Afridi is on strike.
I should say boom, 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 really, rather than bang, 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 shouldn't I? That's outside the off stump again from Bracewell, who's now overcompensating because he's trying to keep it away from Afridi's hitting arc. And it's 153 for 7, and Notts have got 20 off the over, 3 sixes and a couple of wides, and here's the next one, and this time he's hit it straight, and he's got hold of that as well, and that's gone into the pavilion for 6 more. It's 4 sixes in and over from Shaheen Shah Afridi. Again, I'm pretty sure he was looking over mid-wicket, and he's managed to hit it straight, but hit it hard enough, and it's smashed down the ground and into the back row of seats in front of the pavilion. And 4 sixes in the over for Shaheen Shah Afridi. 1 ball of it to come. Bracewell's in again, and he just allows this one to go through to the wicket-keeper. I don't know if he was thinking it was a wide. He's now looking nonplussed at the umpire, and now he stands with both hands on hips. He's convinced that should have been a wide, which is why he didn't try and play it. But it's been given as a dot ball. He's now asking the question of the umpire as he walks down the pitch. But if Notts are going to go down, they're at least going down firing with Afridi at the wicket.
Most definitely. Do you think we can call him Boom Boom Afridi yet?
But Dave has 2 or 3 times already.
Well, most certainly after that over we can. Some incredible ball striking there from Afridi. Is there a glimmer of hope at the... I don't know, we need a lot more than that. We need Patel to join the party as Pat Brown is going to continue.
That's 26 off the over. Extraordinary over.
More please, sir.
Yeah, they're going to need it. Here's Brown into Patel. He's playing this out towards extra cover where D'Oliveira fields, but that gets Afridi on to strike, which I think is Samit Patel's aim at the moment. Afridi's got 29 from 9 deliveries. All that's done, by the way, is reduce the run rate from 18 required to 17 and a half. That shows you how difficult it is from here for Notts.
Brutal. Brutal. You need a lot more blows like that.
Yeah. I mean, if they do that in every over, then they'll win, but that's a big if.
Big if.
Patel's come a long way down the pitch here to go and have a word with Afridi. Know what what the words of wisdom were from Samit Patel, but he made a point of going all the way down to the striker's end. And now here comes Brown into Afridi, who's trying the ramp shot, and that goes through to the wicket-keeper, and there's no run. Thought for a moment that one of the Worcestershire players was appealing for a little faint tickle on the back, but actually what he was doing was just trying to get his teammates' attention to swap positions in the field.
Adam Hose going out to deep mid-wicket, yes.
And Brown bowls to Afridi. He's got a top edge on this one. That's gone miles up in the air. There's a fielder underneath it, and Afridi's gone. It was entertaining while it lasted, but Pat Brown gets his wicket. It was a high steepling catch which Pennington took. Afridi goes for 29 from 10 balls, and it's 160 for 8.
Afridi trying once again to heave this into the leg side. Pat Brown has got the better of him this time, once again going miles up in the air and swirling a little bit, but a good catch nonetheless. And Afridi, short but very entertaining innings, has to go. He's dismissed for 29.
When you're at the stage that you're at, there's no point doing anything else but have a heave at everything, is there?
Definitely not. When the run rate has gone after getting 20 runs in the over before, and it's just gone from 18 to 17, you've got to do more of what was happened before. And I just think you're onto a losing cause there, Colin. You have to carry on. Some might come off, some might not.
160 for 8, Notts needing 227, remember, so they're still 67 short from 21 balls. And this is a Chinese cut off the inside edge from the new batsman, who is Matt Carter. He goes down to the man at fine leg, who's Bracewell, and they've gone through for a single to bring Patel to strike. So Carter's faced 1 ball, Patel's only faced 7, so 2 new batsmen in pretty much. And more empty white seats beginning to appear around the ground as people head for home. Brown comes in and bowls, and there's an edge from Patel. He's caught behind. It's another one in the over for Brown. 2 in 3 balls. It's 161 for 9, and Samit Patel has to go for 4. And it's 161 for 9 in the 17th.
Looked like one of the rare balls that Brown has bowled at full pace, and short and wide, and Patel's got a nick on it, and the most comfortable of catches to Cox. And well, they really are now staring down a barrel. 161 for 9 as in comes McCurr.
Yeah, the last pair, Conor McCurr and Matt Carter, now the batsman, and they've got 3 overs to try and see out here, and the ball to come still in Pat Brown's over, the 17th. 161 for 9. Notts heading for heavy defeat after Worcestershire made 226 for 5. So a full moon has appeared over Trent Bridge, just to the right as we look at it from one of the floodlight pylons over the Hound Road stand. Here's Brown into McCurr, who's played him back down the pitch up towards long on, and they will have a single. End of the 17th. 162 for 9, and DJ having a brave go at getting the crowd going with Sweet Caroline at this stage of the night.
Well,
it usually works in any circumstance. I was
about to say, if it's working, it still works. Never does not, does it? Always brilliant to see people singing along to Sweet Caroline. DJ doing what he does best.
There's some interesting scores around the North Group tonight. I'll just update you on 1 or 2 of them as as long as this over does go on, as McCurr punches it away from Finch onto the offside, and they take a single. The scores are level between Durham and Lancashire, but that means Durham have got 10 balls to score 1 run. So Durham look as if they're going to beat Lancashire tonight, which is one interesting score. The other one is down the road at Derby, where unbeaten Birmingham are 66 for 5 in the 10th over, chasing 175 to beat Derbyshire, who have had a very poor start. They and Leicestershire struggling. Finch from the pavilion end is in and bowls to Carter. He's beaten the batsman, but he's also beaten the stumps. It goes by leg stump, and it's well taken by Ben Cox behind the stumps. Finch will wonder how on earth he's not got some timber.
I don't know how that's missed. I thought that had bowled him.
It didn't miss by much. I think Carter probably was waiting to hear the clatter after he'd missed it with his bat. 163 for 9. Here's Finch again. Into Carter. He's played this one up towards extra cover. There's a diving stop from D'Oliveira, and they take 1. 17.5 overs gone. 164 for 9. Academically, Notts require 63 from 15 balls, with the last pair at the crease. So the set of results that's around tonight is just going to concertina up the North group even more, as Finch is in again and bowls to McCurr, who has a swipe at this and plays it out towards the cover boundary where Haynes fields, and they get 1 more. If Derbyshire complete the victory, it looks like they're going to, against Birmingham, it will certainly be Worcestershire's night. If Lancashire are going to lose as well, Lancashire have now lost, that's been confirmed. Durham win by 6 wickets. Here's Finch into Carter, who's pulling this hard round towards mid-wicket. There is a fielder on the rope. It's Brown out there, and it's just a single.
He's done some nice grazing out there, as Pat Brown, as we like to call it. It's been very good, I thought. Great arm. Not easy to always fill in those big pockets of space.
They've been very good all round, Worcestershire, haven't they?
They have.
They just had a couple of rocky overs during the power play with Clark and Hales firing at them. But apart from that, this one's banged in short by Finch, and it's a no ball. Too short. Way over the head of McCurr, who's not a short man. And head height, no ball. Seems a bit of a strange one for Finch to bang in at this stage of the game.
I agree. I don't think there's a need for that, Colin.
168 for 9. Last ball of the 18th over to be re-bowled and crunched up towards long off, wideish long off for another single. 169 for 9, so 7 off the over. And we're into the final 12 balls, however many of those these last pair might get through, but Notts are not going to win tonight. It means that after 5 games they're going to have won 2 and lost 3 as they head to Birmingham tomorrow and then return here to play Lancashire on Saturday. It's a tough whole weekend, including tonight's as well. At start of play, it was basically the top 3 they had to play in 3 days. I know earlier in the programme Dave was saying it's a potentially pivotal weekend as Brown continues from the Radcliffe Road end, and his first ball is paddled away by McCurr towards long on, and they'll go through for a single.
Once again, as we heard Fletcher saying when he was up here in the commentary box, it looks like they are setting themselves for Pat Brown's knuckleball or slower ball as he continues here.
Here is Brown, and this is top-edged by Carter, and the wicket-keeper's underneath it. It's gone miles in the air. In the end, Ben Cox has to dive for it to take it, but he has taken it, and that is the end of the game. Carter's gone for 3, and Notts are all out for 170, and that is a comprehensive defeat as Worcestershire win by 56 runs. And Notts are all out in the 19th over. 170 all out. And Notts suffer defeat for the third time in their opening 5 games in the T20 Blast. 2 wins, 3 defeats, and Worcestershire make it 4 wins out of 4 and profit on a night when the others near the top of the group look as if they're going to lose. So a big night for Worcestershire and plenty of work, plenty of thinking for Notts to do ahead of a trip to Edgbaston.
Most definitely. Worcestershire deserved winners this evening. I think better in all departments tonight, and well, they've come out as comfortable winners. Notts will go home, and I've got a lot of thinking to do ahead of what will be a very, very tough place to go to play. Tomorrow being Edgbaston.
170 all out, 18.2 overs, so there was still another 10 balls to spare for Notts, who found themselves really, Carl, behind the 8 ball right from the start of the game, didn't they? Because Worcestershire's openers Brett D'Oliveira and Michael Bracewell came out and absolutely caned Notts. 87 without loss at the end of the power play, and really from then on, although Notts fought their way back into it a little bit and the bowlers came back and took some wickets and stemmed the flow of runs, once you've got that many on the board from that stage of the game, you're pretty much in control for the rest of the night.
Most definitely. The way that Worcestershire started, Notts were trying to play catch up the entire game, and unfortunately when you get a score as big as they did and Notts didn't get off to the start that they needed, you really, really are fighting an uphill battle that Notts have lost this evening. And D'Oliveira has had an incredible game. 4 for 11 and 44 off 21. That is some evening.
Yeah, that's not a bad night, is it? Let's bring Dave Bracegirdle in. Dave, you've watched all of the games that Notts have played in the T20 so far, and at the start of the night you said that this could be a pivotal weekend for Notts. It's obviously not started in the way that they'd have wanted to, but when you look at the other results that are going on in the North Group tonight, it looks as if this group is going to be really close.
I think it will, yes. Last year Notts didn't play tremendously well all through, yet only missed out, I think, on run rate in the end, finishing 5th. They've found Worcestershire tricky opponents throughout the history of the T20 Blast, and I was a little fearful of this tonight. They seem to always like chasing, but they don't seem to be particularly good at it, or that's what we see this year. Look at that scorecard. We've got Clark 25, Hale 71, and then 9, 4, 6, 3, 4, 3 and 5. The one I haven't mentioned, Shane Sharafridi down there at the bottom, 29, just throwing the bat, really just trying to get respectability, just trying to somehow get them somewhere close. It didn't happen, but when 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 all go for single figures, you're not going to be anywhere near 220 odd. But I think Notts have been, somebody just put there on Twitter, Notts outplayed in all 3 departments. You can't really argue with that. Luke Fletcher was up here saying, he felt a little sorry for the bowlers union, but I don't know, they've just got to find a way really to just sort of develop some sort of system or pattern. For years we were used to, as I said earlier, coming out of the power play, and then everybody knew what their role was. 4 overs from Mullaney, 4 overs from Patel. I'm not advocating that's necessarily the way to go. Sides do like to flick about and chase.
Okay, so our thanks to your commentary team of Colin, Dave, Kyle, and I believe Luke Fletcher was in there as well. Ollie, obviously wasn't meant to be for the Outlaws tonight. A defeat by 56 runs, but we have to give some credit to the Rapids. Played obviously very well with the bat, and then backed that up with the ball there as well.
Yeah, they did. Obviously not the best performance from our side. I think maybe Worcester looked at the way we bowled and learnt a few things of how they could shut off certain areas, and yeah, unfortunately when you've got a total that big you just have to keep going, and unfortunately the wickets just fell at probably the wrong times, and we couldn't quite get that partnership together to give us that boost to get close to having a dip at the end. So a disappointing one, but the way the schedule is, on to tomorrow.
Exactly, there's not much time to kind of dwell on it or, kind of think about it too much, I imagine. If we just go back to the start of our batting innings, it felt that both Joe Clark and Alex Hales came out with the right intent at one point. I mean, I know it doesn't matter when there's not going to be any rain, but the DLS kind of gives a path for people of where we potentially should be. It felt that we started off well, but unfortunately, like you've just mentioned there, the wickets fell at times that weren't ideal for us.
Yeah, they did. They came out like strong, positive shots, hit the areas that they're strong, especially down the ground. And yeah, Clarkey will be disappointed. In hindsight, he'll probably go, I should have just tried to hit it into that stand rather than help it on its way. It's those sort of little margins that if they go just to the right of the fielders, then obviously it's a boundary and we kick on. And yeah, unfortunately, we just kept losing wickets at those times that we needed to put maybe a few more runs on the board and kick on.
One word for Alex Hales, again another 50. That's the third time, 3 matches in a row that he's gone past the 50 mark. 71 top scorer for the Outlaws. Just can't do it on your own, can you, when you're up top, unfortunately? You
can't. He's shown his class tonight. The way he strikes the ball and the way it makes it impossible for bowlers to bowl at him. He can access all areas of the ground, and he showed. He stood still tonight, flicked one off his legs, so then he sort of, he sort of knew that the bowler was then going to try and keep it on the offside. Took one step away from leg and hit it over extra cover. He's so hard to bowl at, and yeah, like I said, just didn't quite have that partnership to kick us on and give us a chance to knock that score off.
You mentioned about tomorrow, obviously a trip to Birmingham Bears, another tough team to face, a team that's been on good form so far in this competition. You kind of got to scrap today, haven't you? I mean, how easy is that as a player, where you've just experienced a defeat but you've got to go again the next day?
It's obviously hard. People will think about this game tonight, but I think the fact they do come so thick and fast, you don't have any time to think about tonight. Tomorrow morning, people will wake up and start thinking about the opposition and how we can go about that and try and build on some positives from tonight. The way obviously Alex has played and a few others, and we'll know tomorrow that we need to take wickets up front and obviously not have a power play like we did tonight. But it's people will come back again tomorrow and give it their all. Like they say, it's a manic schedule and you don't have any time to reflect. So I think it is a good thing for us, and the boys will be going out there tomorrow and focusing on Birmingham Bears.
Birmingham currently struggling against the Derbyshire Falcons actually tonight. So does anybody take anything from that? I mean, it's like you say, the schedule's so manic. Do you just approach every game individually and don't necessarily look into previous results?
Oh, 100%. You've seen in T20, you can lose the first 6 games in a competition and still qualify. Like, it's not, you have to peak at the right times, and hopefully we can carry on in this competition. And obviously it's never good when you lose a game, but there's still plenty of time in this competition to turn it around. Teams will beat teams, or everyone will beat everyone in this. Teams are strong. There's no so-called weak teams, and yeah, the Birmingham Bears will be a tough opposition, but it means we have to come switched on tomorrow and go again.
Yeah, just finally from yourself, because I don't want to keep you too long. We're hoping to get somebody, but unfortunately here at Trent Bridge, I literally have to sign everything. But hopefully we will get somebody. Totally lost my train of thought here, because that's put me off. But experience, is this where we need the experienced players in that dressing room to just literally calm maybe the youngsters down? Oh, we've got Lyndon James. Oh, Lyndon, do you want to just grab the microphone off Charlie, our cameraman, for us? Is this where experience is needed in the dressing room? Calm people down and, just take each game as it comes?
It is, and
Come in here.
I mean, when it doesn't go right, obviously people are disappointed, but you lean on those more experienced shoulders. You sort of ask them maybe how they go about it and learn from that and come back again. Like I say, I keep referring to it that the schedule is manic and you come again tomorrow, so there's not much time to to look back, and you just come again and give it your all tomorrow, and hopefully we're on the better side of it come the game tomorrow night.
Is that true, Lyndon? What Ollie just says there. First of all, thank you very much for joining us. Obviously a tough one to take there, but as Ollie's just said, is it about just turning up tomorrow at Edgbaston, go again, keep things positive?
Literally, yeah. I mean, there's no point, worrying on what's happened. The beauty of the schedule, I guess, is that we've got another game tomorrow and then Sunday. So we've got to wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day and go again, and hopefully, get two wins out of 3 over the weekend.
Sounds like you two are players, really. Saying exactly the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Ollie, just while we've got Lyndon, a word for somebody like Lyndon that's playing in the T20 and ever present so far. Been around the club for many years already, but still such a young age. How nice is it to have somebody like him representing the county and the club?
It's great. He offers a lot. Obviously, a man who can bat and bowl. It's vital to the skipper, and yeah, he's shown his class in the 4-day stuff, and he's shown his ability in the first few games, the way he strikes the ball. And I know he'll probably be a bit disappointed the way it came out with the ball tonight, but he's got it. He's got the potential, and I know he'll be working hard to put that right tomorrow. And I'm sure there'll be a few polls on the way.
Polls on the way. Hey, just finally from you, Lyndon. Obviously 3 games this weekend. Like you say, Edgbaston tomorrow, go again, hopefully 2 out of 3. But do you like that as a player, the fact that you've got exactly 1 night's sleep and then you can go again and get back on the road?
I think so. Either way you look at it, I think it's pretty good. I mean, if you win in, you obviously want it to come thick and fast because you win in, but if you've lost a couple, it's quite nice to try and put it right pretty quickly. As I say, you can't worry too much about what's happened. You've just got to pick yourself up and go again, and try and get your 2 from 3 over the weekend.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you very much to you, Lyndon, for joining us. Thank you very much to you, Mr. Stone. It's been lovely having you on commentary. And thank you to all of you for watching. The Outlaws will be back on Sunday here at Trent Bridge against the Lancashire Lightning, but also the Blaze are here. It's a double header here at Trent Bridge, so get yourself down if you can. If not, both games will be streamed. But from everybody here at Trent Bridge Live, thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you on Sunday.